at Bassendean Oval. The bounce of the ball in the middle of the ground. It's up for grabs. A kick forward by West Perth up towards Cullen, who comes out to meet it. Cullen's got the football. Hand passes upfield in the wrong direction. Kick smothered off the boot. Del Borello went in hard. So did Ugle. Picked up again by West. Kick forward by Curley. It's to a nest of Swan District's players. And Edmonds has taken a juggle mark and it's been paid, although Richardson wants to play on. With me in commentary, Noel Carter and Wally Foreman.
Edmonds swinging play across the ground towards the outer side of the ground where a comfortable mark has been taken by O'Neill. He storms to the centre square and kicks long with this strong northwesterly breeze, but Jeps at the back of the pack takes the relieving mark for West Perth. He goes wide to Harris, takes the ball cleanly and gets it further afield to Driffle. Driffle from centre wing spears it up to the half-forward line. Foot race on now. Buick was holding on to Grasso. Grasso's outnumbered 2-1, was held when he didn't have it, and the free kick will go the way of the Sandover medalist.
West Perth need to produce something in this first quarter into the breeze, Noel.
Yes, they would. It's a very strong breeze.
Broadbridge has taken that mark in front of Nelson. Gets up, plays on, and does well. Kicks to centre half forward. From behind, Caton in his 100th game almost pulls down a specky. It comes to side bottom. He kicks into the pocket and ball coming out has taken a great mark on his chest, 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Could be a hard player to counter in this match, Jason Ball.
Yes, his height's going to certainly worry the West Perth defence, but in that case it was the pace. He presented himself very well for the Michael side-bottom pass.
Jason Ball, left out of the team to play the Bears tonight in Carrara. Lines up for the first score of the match, and I think he's put it through. Angled that in nicely from the pocket. Swans have got one with the breeze. And West Perth really had to show stout defence here to hold out the Swans in this first term.
It's going to be a long afternoon for West Perth if they can't hold out Swans in this first quarter. It's a very strong breeze, and I mean their coach would be looking for a good effort here in the first quarter to hold the Swans machine out, so that it gives them a chance to set up a possible win later on in the game.
Swan District's one goal. West Perth yet to score. 3 minutes gone in the first quarter at Bassendean Oval, with Edmonds opposing Nelson. Edmonds winning it down, but it's intercepted and taken for West Perth by Solly. The ball coming back towards the centre of the ground, and Elliott took a well-judged mark, lays it off quickly to Curley, who kicks past Ugle towards the half-forward line, and West Perth showing good dash, with the mark being taken for them by Djukovic. He kicks in towards centre half-forward, big pack into the air, and a West Perth kick is to be paid. It'll go to Cullen, their full forward. This will give us a good indication of the strength of the breeze, because Cullen is a good kick. He gets plenty of carry with his kicks, and he will shoot from just inside 50 metres. A quick reply here would be the tonic that West Perth needs, and a good positive start from their newcomer Djukovic, who gained possession of that ball on the half-forward line. Playing his first game and down from Darwin. From Geelong via Darwin, he's allowed to the right, and that was a good tester for Cullen. He started it well out to the right, and I think he probably did the right thing. I thought it would have come back further than it did, but such is the power of his kick, it speared its way through the draft. Ugle brings it in quickly, puts it out in front of O'Neill, who started with dash this afternoon. He kicks from right half back to right half forward. Interference there, but Hasty went unpenalised. Curley had, no, it was Jeps, chips it up onto the centre wing position. The mark is taken by West. His hand pass was intended for Harris. It was a shocker. Socked forward where it hit the umpire O'Reilly. In comes a West Perth player, was pulled off it. Side bottom sockers it forward. Gives Bazzo the run of the ball. He has it inside half forward. He was bustled off it through good defence by Tuvey. Walker has it. Tuvey gets it again. He was dispossessed by Walker, who scooped it out. Bazzo from 25 metres. Great snap. Swans have their second. They're 2 goals straight. West Perth are one behind.
Certainly was a good snap there by Steve Basso, but the West Perth defence couldn't hold out the momentum there of Swan District, so they pushed the ball down the ground. You can see here the ball was on the ground for quite a deal of time. That was a clever tap out by young Walker to Basso, who snapped on his left foot, which is not his true kicking foot, but he got the major result anyway.
Swans away to a good start with this breeze, and it really is blowing with plenty of velocity and a great advantage in this first term. Edmonds opposed to Nelson. Edmonds won the tap, Chance for West Perth in the middle of the ground through Sheldrick. Nelson paddles it out. Now Swans have got it through Og. He's pulled off the kick and it lands with Solly. He kicks towards half forward. The ball holds up in the breeze and Richardson, too strong in defence, thumps it back towards half forward. But the whistle has sounded.
Buick's free kick, Trevor, he was being held out of the contest, in the opinion of the umpire.
So Glenn Buick take the kick forward of the centre circle. And he really is a lookalike, Walt, to Darren Buick, his brother.
It's uncanny, the similarity, isn't it? They could be twins.
Let's hope he possesses the same amount of ability. Buick sets it up for his full forward. Cullen knocks it away from the full-back O'Neill. It lands with Richardson, who knocks it straight down to Buick. His hand pass lands back with O'Neill. O'Neill hooks it around his body towards the centre of the ground. Out there is Basiri. Solly taken out by Holmes. And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds. So a good, heavy, physical, fair bump on the outer side of the ground by Andy Holmes.
Throw in with Swans just ahead of the centre line. Edmonds is there. He has a decided height advantage over Nelson, who did well. Got it down to Del Borello. His hand pass wasn't all that good, but West Perth come away with the ball. And it's Harris who drives it up to the half-forward line. Clever play by Buick. Gives Djukowicz the chance. The ball running back towards a vacant goal square. Buick first back there, but the ball is over the boundary line. And the throw-in will take place alongside West Perth's left behind post. So a promising forward move here by West Perth. They've in fact had the ball on their forward line a couple of times. If they can keep Swans to a reasonable score in this first quarter, they'll have the aid of a very strong breeze in the second. Another chance for Djukowicz, who went crashing through the prack. Richardson hurdles a couple of players and kicks back towards centre wing. Del Borello and Madaffri are out there for the Falcons. It's Madaffri who has possession, kicks up to the pocket, and Buick, who has started in very enterprising fashion, takes the mark. Goes short, looking for Hall. Good kick. He dropped the mark. Appeared to be retarded. Having trouble picking it up. Buick soccers it forward, but it was out of play.
Swan District's 2 straight. West Perth 1 behind. Glenn Buick, mid-Grasso, Sandover medalist a couple of years ago. Been dogged by injury since then, unfortunately for him. Edmonds versus Nelson. Nelson wins his way to the front. Edmonds wins the tap. This is Broadbridge. Around his body, a flat punt back to the wing. Coming through strongly is Hasty. He's in front of Madaffri. Still he goes, Hasty. That was short-circuited though by Robbie West. It was meant for side bottom. It comes down to West Perth. Nice pass to Nelson. Nelson thumps it up towards Cullen, who's got the sit. Perhaps should have done better in that situation over O'Neill. O'Neill comes back to knock it over the line and out of bounds in the left full forward pocket. I think he realised that perhaps he should have marked that ball, Matt Cullen.
Yes, I think he was in the better position, but to O'Neill's credit, he recovered and was able to force the ball out of play. But certainly an opportunity went begging there for West Perth.
Need a goal to get them balanced. Came down to Grasso, kick smother, good tackle put on him by Del Borello. It spills to Og. Og from the back pocket. Long kick up towards half forward. Hasty up over the top of Madaffri, and it forces another boundary throw in at right half forward.
Swan District's playing the ball long out of the back line there. Haven't just quite got some forward momentum there across the half-forward line, but I'm sure they'll work it in shortly.
9 minutes gone in the first quarter. Swans lead by 11 points. They have the ball on their half-forward line. Nelson wins it to the side of the pack. West's hand pass was smothered. That wasn't good football. Side bottom met solidly. Richardson off the ground. It's free in the right full forward pocket. First to it will be Hasty. Solly is off after him, but went the long way. Hasty's shot on goal is another very good kick, but he's just missed. 2-1 to 1 point. 9.5 minutes into this first quarter. Troy Fulgrave at full-back for West Perth. Kicks to the outer side of the ground and gets it well out of the danger zone. Edmonds pushed Nelson in the back, and Nelson will get the free kick, although he doesn't realise it yet. Nelson from the standing start, up towards centre wing. Hall is the target. O'Reilly too tall to concede front position to. Swooping on the ball out there is Madaffri, barely recognisable in his new haircut. Og takes it off him. From right centre wing, Og tries to put it back towards a more advantageous position, but it's knocked away down there by Tuvey, and the throw-in will take place at right half forward for Swans.
Very overcast and rain threatening here at Bassendean Oval. West Perth wouldn't want that rain to come in the second term, Noel.
No, they wouldn't. that'll be nail in the coffin for them.
Gee, Broadbridge worked hard. He slapped it straight down towards Freeman. Freeman scrambles a kick. Now another chance for West Perth's Harris. He gets it to Robbie West. At centre half back, he kicks towards the middle of the ground. Ugle and Del Borello there. Del Borello earned front berth. Was he pushed? Yes, he was, according to the umpire. And he'll take the free kick for the Falcons. Angelo Del Borello plays on quickly. The foot pass finds a teammate. That's Elliott. He drives into the pocket looking for Hall. He's out in front of O'Reilly. The ball beats him over the line and out of bounds.
West Perth working that ball into their forward line quite well, keeping the ball low into this breeze, and yeah, they're not getting their maximum result for their effort yet, but it may come.
This time it's Hall and Edmonds, even Stevens. Booted out of defence by Pasiri, but Nelson's there standing tall. Hand pass will send West away. He has to hurry. Bazo was the tackler. It's a good kick. Djukovic, almost a spectacular mark. He could have been paid. Cleared away only as far as West. He lets it go for a teammate in Solly. Solly thumps it back towards the top of the square. Djukovic again over the top. Couldn't hang on. And the umpire says play on. Kicked upfield by Swans, and it lands with Og.
Og into the centre of the ground. Freeman meets Bazo solidly, but I thought Swans were very fortunate not to be penalised a moment ago when a player leapt recklessly into the pack. Could easily have given away the kick, and balls on the end of this penetrating kick from Bazo. That was a good kick and a good lead. And he will shoot on a vacant goal square. There's no one back there. Terrible kick. It landed with Hasty, who couldn't hang on to it. They're going to give him another chance if they're not careful. He was almost pushed in the back. The hand pass comes free to Walker. Back goes Nelson, and he takes it over the goal line. So a desperate passage of play on the Swan District's forward line. And the West Perth defence prevailed. It's 2-2 to 1 point. West Perth playing with great enthusiasm at the moment as Fulgrave kicks towards the outer side of the ground and Freeman takes a strong mark. Freeman, the West Perth Eagles player, recruited from St Kilda. He found Solly out there, and now they've got good run from the full-back line, but Elliott's kick is off the side of the boot and has gone out of play on the full.
They're playing the right side of the ground, Noel.
And they're playing the right brand of football at this stage, you know, to score into the breeze. They're just not getting maximum result yet, but it may happen, as I said before. They've manned up most of the Swans players, and they're keeping it tight.
Grasso finds Edmonds. He's kicked towards half forward. Ball interfered with Nelson. Nelson's causing him a bit of a problem with his height. And they're putting their hands out before going for the football. Now his kick finds Fulgrave. Backward of the centre circle. Here's another likely promising move. This is Madaffrey. Elliott, the runner. Centre half forward. Cullen on the lead. Good football. Couldn't hang on. Chance for Del Borello, who snaps. Good looking snap, and he's put it through. Well, Noel Carter mentioned that a goal was just around the corner, and that was a very good move. And Del Borello snapped as good as the one at the other end.
Yes,
from Bazo.
Yes, it was, and it was well worked out by West Perth here. Perseverance. They kept moving that ball low into the breeze, and we saw the crumbs there come out to Del Borello, who had no trouble finishing off from a good 35 metres out into that breeze, and it was a good goal, and well worth it for the effort that West Perth had put into that little foray into the forward line.
7 points is the margin at Bassendean Oval. Swans lead at the 15-minute mark of the first quarter. West Perth go forward again through Solly, and the mark is taken by Djukovic.
He looks good, Well.
Very athletic. A big leap. We've seen that already. Cullen is the target. Chance for Hall at ground level. O'Reilly gave him some room, but O'Reilly with sufficient pressure to force the ball out of play on the full, and O'Neill will take the free kick as Bazo comes off the ground for Swan Districts and Hardy goes on. Short kick in is a good one. It's found Grasso. Grasso still backward at the half-back line, finds Edmonds. Now Ugle is running. Loose checking here by West Perth. The hand pass goes to Richardson, and Swans have the ball at right centre wing. They drive towards the half-forward line. The target is Ball. It will come to the back of the pack. Caton is run down. Is carried forward, or... Well, we saw Hasty.
Play on.
Yes, I would have thought so too, Noel. We saw that happen to Hasty a few moments ago, and I thought it was a lot worse than that one. But
here we see now. Yes, fairly soft free kick, but
So the free
Both
kick
players look a bit surprised.
is with Kevin Caton, and he will shoot from 30 metres. Zemplis now on the ground for West Perth. Caton for his first goal of the afternoon. It's pretty close. He's got it. Swans have their third. They're 3-2. West Perth 1-1. 16 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Yes, Caton finished off a good goal there from that free kick, but I suggest here that Toddy wouldn't be too happy with their start. I mean, what are we, 15 or 16 minutes into the first quarter, and they've only got the 3 goals, and they haven't used the breeze all that well just at this stage. So we can't take anything away from West Perth. They're holding out very well.
Well, Gieschen has gone for greater height, and he's brought Zemplis onto the ground and taken Elliott off. Obviously trying to combat the Edmonds ball combination that Swan Districts are running. West Perth have just got to hold on for the next 15 minutes. Zemplis opposed by Edmonds. Zemplis did pretty well, but Broadbridge got it away at the second attempt, taken by West. West kicks them to the half-forward line. This is Djukowicz again. That was Ugle over the top. Good spoil. Running onto it is Del Borello. It sits eventually. He was run down from behind. Could have been penalised. Side bottom off the ground with a good clearance. Gives Walker the run of the ball. Solly's after him. He has to keep out of his back, and he did that pretty well. Hardy has it. Solly's outnumbered 2-1, but doing it very well. Comes to Passeri. Still Swans have the numbers, but they've been penalised for a throw. Oh, West didn't realise the umpire had blown his whistle, and a little bit of a to-do well behind play between Ugle and Djukowicz. It's taken by Freeman. He kicks up to the centre wing position where Del Borello's on his own. Now Djukowicz is on his own. That's the player that was in the wrestle with Ugle. He kicks towards Cullen, and Cullen takes the mark. Well, this is a strong rebound by West Perth, and there's a little bit of atmosphere here at the moment. Djukowicz is giving them plenty on the half-forward line, them being the Falcons. He's obviously a very talented footballer. There's a dog on the ground. None of the birds will like that. But Cullen can make this a very interesting game. Getting a lot of support from the Swan District stand. He'll shoot from about 15 metres. And that's a handy goal to the Falcons. They're 2-1. Swans are 3-2. 18 minutes gone in the first quarter.
It's a very handy goal for West Perth, but I'd like to say that great credit there to young Solly, who battled 3 and 4 Swan Districts players early on. Here we see the pass from Del Borello to Djukowicz, who'd Ugle just left a minute earlier. And a well-judged mark here by Cullen, but that build-up came from the half-back line where Robbie West and, as I said, Solly both took on 3 and 4 Swan Districts players and wore them into a free kick situation, which West Perth were able to rebound from and kick a goal. Great play.
Comments from Noel Carter. Umpire Cronje, as Wally mentioned, a lot of atmosphere has suddenly crept into this match. Big tap from Zemplis, but he landed awkwardly. He's quite okay. It's Madaffrey who got it to Buick, who tried to go off the ground. It comes back to Buick, brilliant hand pass, and a brilliant foot pass finds Cullen. West Perth are on a roll here at the moment, and Cullen can easily put this through from 40 metres out directly in front.
Yes, he's sitting in the box seat here, but great second and third efforts there from the little fellows from West Perth. Perseverance.
Buick has been lively. Del Borello's been a good contributor. Cullen's been a focal point in front of goals so far. The honours with West Perth into a stiff breeze. A chance to get within 1 point of Swan Districts. The kick will come back, but I don't think it's come back enough. One behind only. And a missed opportunity there to Matt Cullen.
Noel, the way that fellow kicks the ball, I think he can afford to aim straight at the goal despite the wind.
Yes, he's a very strong kicker, and it looks like way, Wally. Maybe we should have a talk to him a quarter time.
Ugle, kick towards the members' flank. Up goes O'Reilly. Buick at the back, kicks it across the half-forward line. Madaffrey didn't handle the ball cleanly. He's got a backup though from, is it Tooby up there or Solly? Solly it is. He was dispossessed. It came to Broadbridge, to Hardy. The ball inboard to Passeri, who soccers it towards the full forward pocket. Coming out to meet it is Caton. It ricochets to Holmes. Brilliant hand pass to Hasty. He's confronted by Freeman, and the ball squirts towards the boundary. Great play by Peter Freeman to force that boundary throw in as Bazzo comes back on.
Yes,
here's another look at it, Noel.
He's a tough customer.
Oh, isn't he ever? He's St Kilda born and bred, I would think.
But I think on the other hand, there, Hasty too was too easily gave up his ground.
21 minutes gone in the first quarter as Harris clears the ball to the half-back line for West Perth and Madaffri takes the mark.
Looks a bit like Menaglio
He
now.
does. He looks about 2 stone lighter without the hair, doesn't he? The kick goes up towards centre wing and West Perth well placed again. Mark taken by Solly, who's started well. He's been getting good penetration with his kick too. That is a good kick. No, it's just drifted over the line before Djukowicz took the mark. He's not happy about that. And the free kick will go to Grasso. Grasso at right half back for Swan Districts. That ball carrying every bit of 60 metres. Broadbridge up high, taken by Madaffri. Back it goes from whence it came. Ball, the tallest player in the contest. But Grasso off the ground. Should have been marked by Jeps. That wasn't a good effort. Freeman is there. He went without it. Through comes Tuvey. Tuvey spears the ball into the centre where Del Borello is unmarked. He wrong foots Og, puts it out wide. I'm not sure of the wisdom of that, although they've got plenty of room in front of them now as they move to the half-forward line. It's Solly again. Kicks towards Nelson, who stood firm in the pack. Taken by O'Neill. He hooks it wide to Richardson. Swans can get out of strife now, and they look to centre wing where there are 2 players unmarked. Broadbridge has it. He is at right centre wing and puts it into centre half forward. The kick didn't have the carry it needed. Hasty takes it but kicks straight into Jeps. Up goes Freeman. They'll think twice about confronting him. It's taken by Tuvey, who got it to West, who in turn got it to Freeman. Freeman finds Del Borello in the centre of the ground and West Perth are away again. Passeri about to run him down. There's a fight behind play. The umpire's whistle is gone. And the free kick is going against Ugle to Djukowicz, and now 50 metres against Ugle. Djukowicz has been hurt. He was held around in the eye by the look. It's an eye injury, and Ugle was indicating that he felt that he had been attacked in the face. But Djukowicz, so a very fiery opening here. Djukowicz is the recipient of the free kick. Welcome to Bassendean Oval, where there is a very fiery encounter in place. This is Djukowicz, West Perth's new recruit from Darwin, shooting for their third, and he's put it through, but that kick was the result of an ugly incident involving Djukowicz and Troy Ugle. Ugle was indicating that he was tackled in the face. Djukowicz got to his feet holding his eye, and there you can see the damage his eye has suffered. He is a very talented footballer, this fellow, as is Troy Ugle, of course. He's taken a couple of spectacular marks. He's been in the play and he's been in the fights. But a great and enthusiastic opening by West Perth. They're kicking into a howling Northwester and scores a level at the 24-minute mark.
Comments there from Wally Foreman, Noel Carter and Trevor Jenkins with you. Live football from Bassendean, and by gee, what a good first quarter this has been. West put in a vice-like grip by Og, but it comes to Del Borello. He's looking for Cullen. Couldn't hang on. Spilt the mark. Buick pulled off the kick. It's going to lob almost in the square. Djukowicz over the top of Ugle. Almost pulled down a beauty. Richardson upended. It's really on here. Eaton gets it to side bottom. Side bottom confronted by Curley. He gets it to Bazzo. Bazzo's kicked to centre half forward. In comes Swan Districts, but Del Borello, or rather Freeman, spoilt the oncoming Walker. It's shoveled out again by Hasty towards Og. Og goes looking for Caton. Caton couldn't quite hang on to a fingertipper, and it's mopped up by Driffle. Driffle's kick to the wing, though, is ill-directed, and it's been marked by Jason Ball. Richardson in the hands of trainers. There's been a few players down in this first term. Up goes Zempelis, through his fingertips. At the back, West Perth player Jeps held with not in possession. Zempelis around his body. Kick to half back, well trapped by Broadbridge. He was playing from behind, though. It spills to side bottom, who looks for Hardy, and Hardy's taken the mark. 45 to 50 out. Scores a level here as we go into time on. Bazzo, Caton and Ball, the goal scorers for Swans, and for West Perth, Del Borello, Cullen and Djukowicz. Madaffri coming off. Hardy shoots for goal. It's coming back but not enough, and one behind the result. There's Djukowicz and Ugle, and that has been a good old-fashioned man against man contest in the first term, Noel Carter.
Yes, it is. I say the the young line, Djukowicz, and I guess Ugle will be trying to impress the Eagle selectors, and he's really concentrating on his man at this stage.
Bad mistake out there by Jeps, but he was able to recover the ball and put it back in the direction of Solly and Broadbridge, but it's gone out of play. Now it's a mark. I was going to say it had to be one or the other.
And it was a good mark.
Yes, taken by Michael Broadbridge. Swans are now playing with greater desperation. They realise they're in deep water here because this is a very strong wind. Here's Dreffel. He's played pretty well. He took too long that time. The ball knocked forward for Swans. Zemplis almost able to trap it. He went in on top of it. Hasty on top of him. Oh, that's a tough decision against Zemplis.
Shocking decision.
Hometown decision.
Well, that really was a tough decision, and it's on again, as you can see.
That's caused by the umpiring.
Well, I don't know that it was actually, Trev. Those two players were into it. I don't think they realised which way the decision had gone. That's Fulgrave and Broadbridge. Now, there's going to be a free kick to Swans, and they'll be within kicking distance. Oh, it's a 50-metre penalty now, which takes them to the goal line. Oh, well, Andy Holmes, niggling as ever.
Well, it's a little hard to understand. West Perth have had all the momentum, as we see young Hardy kick the goal.
Hardy's kicked the goal. Swans are 4-3. West Perth are 3-2. But this really has been West Perth's quarter.
It has at that. And West Perth had all the momentum. And how that umpire could pull that kick out like that. Here we see the replay. There's no problems about that goal. But it was a little bit doubtful, that decision. But Wally, I was going to say that Swan District's won something a little bit deeper than hot and water before, something a bit thicker as well. But they have, scored a steadying goal.
Great courage by Zemplis to go into
Yes,
that
it was. And this is a holding the ball decision. Very, very strange. Very hard to understand.
He showed good courage to go in, Zemplis, and he's been absolutely robbed.
Crucified.
That's right.
On an Easter weekend.
27 minutes gone. You saw the scoreline.
On again.
7 points. Richardson's caught one.
Yes.
And the free kick is going to West.
Didn't see what happened off the ball. West kicked the half forward. Djukowicz.
He's got a beautiful pair of hands. Isn't he a well-balanced footballer, Noel?
He's at that.
Now Cullen's moving in the square. That's the way the kick's going. Nelson's there as well. Good defence by Swans to knock it away from those two players. Cullen the best to recover. Sidebottom's after him. He shakes Sidebottom off. Hand passes it back towards the 25-metre line. Buick to Del Barello. Del Barello's kicks offline. And one behind only.
Could almost have been kicking in danger on Buick, couldn't it?
I didn't see that one, but that was a good
Here it
build-up.
is again. Watch this.
Oh, no
heavens
risk.
above.
Crude tackle.
What's
very
going
crude
on
tackle.
out there? And Buick has been a real live wire early in this game.
Ugle to put the ball back into play.
In fact, I'd go so far as to say that was reportable.
He's gone straight down the middle looking for Hardy. He doesn't let him down. Djukowicz couldn't get there in time. Hardy from centre half back. Won't be a long quarter. This is David Ogg. Still backward at the centre square. Ogg's got a lead from Richardson. That's the way the kick goes. Beautifully weighted. Ball short-circuited. And he's been awarded the mark. Ball goes looking for Richardson now, who's still roaming loose in the right full forward pocket. Zemplis closing. Gets around him. Finds some space, but the kick's a shocker. Cleverly trapped by Freeman. Former St Kilda player. Thumps it back towards the members' wing. This is Del Barello now. Had a good first quarter. Djukowicz has been brilliant. I think Ugle's been moved off him. Here's the kick back towards the middle. This is Eaton. Good shepherd on Freeman by Pasiri. Now Ugle. Hand pass to Grasso. Grasso goes towards Walker. He'll mark. And Walker at half forward for Swan Districts.
He's between lines as he kicks the centre half forward. And Pasiri played on it, was touched. In comes Curley, who was met solidly by Richardson. And that's a strange decision. Curley wanted to put his head down. He wasn't committed to that challenge. And I thought Richardson was penalised. The mark will be taken by Ball. Good hand pass away to Hardy. It goes to Richardson. Can Swans get a late goal? Richardson sends it out wider to accommodate Broadbridge, who kicks from 50 metres. Going back with the ball is Fulgrave, and he takes a timely mark, but he injured his foot. He missed his footing when going across for that mark. Now he kicks the ball up in the direction of Freeman, who must mark. He has. Good strong player, this fellow. Short kick intended for Tuvey. He'll have to go. They'll come at him head on. Tuvey got to it, did well, courageously. This is Del Borello, who gets around Ugle, kicks into centre half forward, a bad kick, gives Grasso the run of the ball. Buick, who has played with incredible dash, threw the ball away and should have been penalised. Comes back to Harris, he's cornered, holding the ball. Well, West Perth were lucky they lasted that long because Buick threw it away in old-fashioned style.
Broadbridge is away, but he's going to be brought back.
West Perth guys there trying to do a little bit too much.
Broadbridge to the outer wing, taken by Hardy. On he goes to Bazzo. Bazzo goes beyond the centre square and spears the pass to Edmonds. He should have done better. Richardson has it. This is Walker. Plenty of pressure in that Swan District's forward line. The kick almost smothered. It's bouncing back towards goal. The throw-in will take place at right full forward for the Black and Whites.
Another player holding his nose down there. Crowd getting their money's worth so far here today. 6 points, one straight kick the difference in favour of Swans. Close to quarter time. Zempelis from behind Edmonds. Zempelis over the top, did well there. And if he ever strikes his straps, you'll see a very talented footballer, Basil Zempelis. He's had a checkered career caused by a couple of bad injuries. But he's a talented player. Edmonds also a promising footballer. Again, Zempelis wins the thump. So negative football, but not bad tactics by West Perth late in this quarter.
I think the Zempelis here, Trevor, he's going to test his ability against players like Edmonds and Ball. It'll be a good test for him.
Great start to the game by Jason Ball with a clever mark and goal in the first 5 minutes of the match. Zempelis again over the top. That bounced away from Hasty, who grabbed Fulgrave around the neck and dumped him. And that caused this little scuffle. Now back comes Fulgrave. Gee, it's been a fiery first quarter. Good old-fashioned footy. Where's it been? Oh, interference there. Looked to be on Edmonds. He may have lost his footing. Harris scrambles a kick. This is Solly working hard in front of Broadbridge. He was happy to run that over the line and out of bounds.
He's had a good first quarter, Noel.
Yes, young Solly played very well.
He's been in the thick of things. A couple of times I don't think he wanted to be there. There's the quarter time siren. So at quarter time, as Jeff Gieschen comes onto the ground, the new West Perth coach, and he'll be our special guest today at half-time. It's 3-3-21 West Perth, trailing Swans 4-3-27.
And Jeff Gieschen would be quite pleased with what he saw in that first quarter. At the 15-minute mark, it looked as though Swans were going to run all over the top of West Perth, but the young Falcons played with terrific endeavour, enterprise, aggression, and they came back very strongly in that second half of in the latter stages of the first quarter to get within a goal. As Trevor said, it's 4-3 to 3-3. The goal scorers in the first quarter for Swan Districts were Bazzo, that was a very clever snap, Caton, Hardy and Ball, and the goal scorers for West Perth, Del Borello, Cullen and Djukowicz. And wasn't Djukowicz in the thick of things? This is the fellow, number 45. You can just see him there momentarily. Recruited from Darwin, or from Geelong via Darwin, playing his first game this afternoon for the Falcons, and he showed plenty in that first quarter, both in terms of his ability and his personality, to suggest that he is going to be a very handy player for West Perth throughout the course of this season. So that's it at quarter time. Swans by a goal, but Swans kicked with a very stiff northwesterly wind. It's not a breeze. It'll be worth at least 4 or 5 goals, I would think. So West Perth won't be disappointed with the situation they find themselves in. There's the situation in the other games. Perth leading Subiaco, Claremont leading East Fremantle, and South Fremantle leading East Perth.
Thank you, Wal. Perth and Subiaco, Claremont, East Fremantle, South Fremantle and East Perth in what should be some very good contests around the metropolitan area. Jason Ball, as I mentioned, figured in the play prominently in the early part of the game. Swans going with the breeze, and here is a very good mark.
Here we see side bottom recover the ball and put in a nice pass. And one point about Ball here at this stage is he's caused more problems with his pace rather than his height in the first quarter, and I think he's presented himself, and twice on the lead there he's taken good marks and converted 1 goal.
Steve Bazzo also in the play early.
Yes, here we see Passeri kick it off the ground, side bottom again. Bazzo's ball in front of him, paddles it along. West Perth try to check it there. You'll see a little bit of tapping around here, yeah. The ball spent a fair bit of time on the ground. Clever by Walker to Bazzo. had a little time to have a look and finished it off.
Found him off the ground later in the quarter, Steve Bazzo, and the pressure got hectic. Angelo Del Borello, one of the West Perth smaller men who really figured prominently in the first quarter, Noel.
Yes, he was a live wire for them, as was West, the smaller players, and Buick, all those little fellas. They gave that drive around the ground, and West Perth big fellas trying to bring the ball to the ground to give these little fellas advantage.
It was Jeff's out of defence.
Now, Cullen spilled a mark there. We've seen this last week with Flugie, how he opportunist goal, and there again, Angelo Del Borello didn't let his teammates down with a good snap goal from, say, 35 metres out.
Jeff Gieschen with his players. Glenn Buick there in the almost obscured little ginger-headed rover also had a very strong influence in winning that ball out of the middle of the ground. Who are some of your best players from both sides, Noel?
Well, I thought Nelson played quite well around the ground. West, Del Borello, Buick, Solly, the smaller players, I thought their groundwork was excellent. Dukowitz across the half-forward line. Cullen in the full forward area, he led and marked very well. And Freeman, I thought, was quite solid in the back line, and he's got some of the Swan District's players running right round him at the moment, not going anywhere near him. And I thought Fulgrave did a good job in the full-back as well. For the Swans side, I thought Ball started the quarter very well. As I said before, his pace was more of a damage than his height. I thought Bazzo worked quite hard, and I thought Ogg controlled the centre quite well. Okay, comments there from Noel Carter. Let's go down to the ground with Tanya Armstrong.
Thanks, Trevor. Both coaches had some words to say on their discipline at that break. John Todd wants to see more commitment from the body. He said, don't get sucked into the pushing and shoving. They're just trying to put you off your game. He wants to see them kick with more purpose. Jeff Gieschen, West Perth coach, says let them do the punching, we'll get the kicks. He wants them to continue to run hard and make the most of this quarter with the breeze and kick long into the goal face.
Comments from Tanya Armstrong. Craig Nelson also dominant in that first term. He had good opposition too from Jason Ball and also from Travis Edmonds. It's 4-3-27 to 3-3-21 in favour of Swans, but West Perth going with the aid of a strong nor'wester in this second term.
Well, West Perth have the chance to set up a major upset here. Both teams going into this game with 1 win, 1 loss records, but I don't think there's any doubt that Swans are one of the premiership favourites even at this early stage, and West Perth not considered to be a threat this year. Here's Caton on the end of the first kick forward. What West Perth have to remember in this quarter is that they have to do the work. The wind won't do it for them. Triple.
By G, Sidebottom's been good with his disposals to his forwards. He's picked them out on 2 or 3 occasions already in this game and been very heady play, very clever play.
Comments from South Fremantle Premiership captain Noel Carter as Caton lines up for what will be his second goal. Tricky end at which to score goals this afternoon, but he knows this ground well. And he has put that right through the middle. That's a very good kick. A lesson there for his counterpart at the other end, Cullen, who had a couple of set shots and couldn't convert. And that's a very good start to this second quarter. As the umpire goes back now and talks to Driffle and to Caton.
I think feelings run a little high. I think the spirit of the game is well up in everybody's mind at the moment, and the old heart's pumping out there for some of those players. But yes, Caton, we've seen there, he kicked through the ball, and might have been a lesson, as you said, to young Cullen, where he was allowing for the breeze. Caton kicked straight through it, went straight, and didn't have any problem registering a goal.
Let's say West Perth don't think the breeze is going to do it all in this quarter, because that can backfire on you very sharply. Good straight bounce, Nelson up, wins the tap. Harris tried to get it around his body, smothered by Ogg. It came back to West Perth, though. Freeman, interference seen there against O'Reilly, and the free kick to be taken by Hall, who hasn't been cited so far in this game. Buick's loose, he ignores that and goes wider to find Harris, 55 metres out. He should go long here. I think he's going to attempt that. It's not a very good kick. Gathers about 45 metres, and at the back, Ugle pulls down a well-judged mark in defence. Ugle goes into the pocket. O'Reilly getting away from Hall. Takes a mark right in front of the scoreboard. Kicks it up along the outer side of the ground. Nelson in front, pulls down a good mark. Too tall for Sidebottom. But his hand pass was smothered by Sidebottom. Tried to play on a little too quickly there, and Sidebottom did well. Nelson and Edmonds. Nelson over the back to Delbarello, who lost his footing when tackled by Ogg. That tackle was too high on Elliott. He's got the free kick. Now he can go into the goal square. He's a good kick. Cullen leads. That's the way the foot pass goes. Into the pocket. Up goes Cullen. From the back it was Djukovic, but it came down towards O'Neill. He was swamped. Ball jars free. And emerging is O'Reilly. But the umpires whistled it up 30 metres out from play. From goal.
West Perth player couldn't find the key to unlock the tackle, mate.
There's been some good tackling so far from both sides. Ugle confronted. Ball jars out of his grip. Harris is there trying to emerge. Gets it to Cullen. Cullen snaps. Whistle has sounded. There's an incident behind the play.
To Harris. Kick to Harris for being legged.
Well, umpire Cronje on the spot. Ugle in the thick of things. And Harris, a good chance to bring up a major here, although he's on a very acute angle. Gieschen getting a bet on the Doncaster. Harris, recruited by Gieschen from Wodonga, and his kick is too shallow.
Left his kicking boots in Wodonga by the looks.
Yeah, he might have kicked it with the wrong Wodonga.
Well, they can't afford to miss opportunities like that, Noel, can they?
No, they can't. I mean, in the first quarter they build up by moving the ball into the forward line. Here they're blasting away. I think the side can fall down here if they can't afford to just put it up there and let the breeze bring it in. They've got to use it.
Good shepherd applied by O'Neill. Gave Swans the run of the ball there, but the mark was spilled, and Richardson under pressure has put it out of play on the full. So West Perth doing all the attacking. Tuvey takes the resulting free kick, but they must kick goals. He kicks back towards the 50-metre line. Cullen was in front. Richardson at the side of the pack. No pressure there at all. Walker made a bad mistake. Richardson goes back to tidy up for Swans. Hasty led in the race for the ball. Passeri got an unkind bounce. Freeman gets the hand pass to West. Hurriedly to the half-forward line. Nelson is there. Well read by Delbarello. A yard away from him. Passeri has it. Shocking hand pass. Intended for Broadbridge, who was removed from that contest most unceremoniously. It was then taken high while on the ground, and Broadbridge will get the free kick.
Looking a little scrappy at the moment, Wally.
The game has degenerated after a very enthusiastic opening. It goes up towards half forward. Bad miss back there by a West Perth player in Tuvey, but they get out of trouble. He's providing the run now, pulled off his kick, and it lands in a nest of Swan District's players, and a comfortable mark has been taken by Edmonds. He plays on to Ugle. Broadbridge is loose on centre wing. They'll have to go square. He's gone very square. And that has given West Perth a chance. Broadbridge keeps it in play cleverly. Tuvey came back at him, but that was well done by Broadbridge. The kick was intended for O'Reilly. Hand pass from Walker to the call of Ogg. Ogg goes back to centre half forward. Nelson has to mark this or West Perth are in trouble. Walker, he's about 45 out, has got pace and kicks the goal. Well, Nelson had to mark that ball and should have. West Perth paying dearly for their mistakes.
A great goal there by Greg Walker, and once again we see these Rovers kicking goals without their boots on. Here's Ogg using the ball. He went for Bazzo there. It wasn't quite weighted enough. Nelson had the opportunity. Perfectly roved by Walker. Now we see the turn of pace. Flicked the boot off and had no trouble kicking the goal. But West Perth are finding it hard to cross their half-forward line there with the experienced Richardson and guys like that mopping up.
Bounce favours Edmonds. Nelson arrived late to win the tap. It went through the hands of Madaffrey. Pushed out by O'Reilly towards side bottom, but in came West. Good work by Robbie West. Went around in an arc and then found a teammate in the middle of the ground. This is Hall. He thumps it towards full forward, and up goes O'Neill to pull down a safe mark. He's got back up. Ugle. Ugle's got a call from Broadbridge, but he ignores that. He wants to go further towards the members' wing, and it falls in the safe hands of O'Reilly. The Swans have started well in the second term. Invaluable goals into the breeze from Caton and Walker. Now O'Reilly sizes up the options. Kick to half forward. Almost a good mark to ball. Crumbs come to Hasty. He's caught holding the ball. Jeps putting the vice-like grip on. Good-looking spiral torpedo punt kick. They contest on the 50-metre line. Del Borello puts a high tackle on O'Reilly. O'Reilly kicks back towards the members' wing. They set at the back almost to mark the Tooby. He's got a hand pass away when tackled. Back he comes though. Broadbridge the tackler on him. He's dispossessed Tooby. Allows Buick in with side bottom. They push towards the boundary and pushed over the line and out of bounds.
Throwing it left half forward for West Perth. They've got to get a move on. Swans have kicked the first 2 goals of the quarter and they're working into the wind. Chance for them now as Djukovic hooks back towards full forward. Grasso got an unkind bounce. Cullen tried to knock it to his own advantage. Madaffrey overran it. Off the ground by O'Neill, up towards centre half back. Passeri leads in the race for the ball. He looks to be out of touch at the moment, but Bazzo swoops on it. Not a good kick. Again, the wind being a big factor in this passage of players. It comes now to West. Good exchange of hand passes. Elliott has it. Broadbridge closing. Good kick has found Cullen, and Cullen can score from there. He'll shoot from 55 metres.
Certainly the best build-up for West Perth in the first 10 minutes of this game anyway, kicking with the breeze.
Cullen is a very good kick of the ball. We saw him miss a couple of opportunities in the first quarter when he over-allowed for the breeze. This time it will be blowing left to right, and I doubt the distance will be his problem. It's a beautiful kick. Has it got the accuracy? Gee, he has got a magnificent kicking style, Matt Cullen. That's his second. West Perth are 4-4. Swans are 6-3. West Perth first for the second quarter, and they really must start to capitalise on this win.
Here we see the missed kick by Bazzo, which allowed the West Perth guys to backman to come in. Handball to Robbie West. Used the ball to Elliott. Elliott had plenty of time to pick out his leading forward and didn't miss him. You see right there on the 50-metre line, so it was a good kick and well converted.
2 goals to Matt Cullen, 2 to Kevin Caton, playing his 100th game today for Swans. 11 points the margin in favour of the home side. Edmonds wins the tap. Solly, Bazzo. Ball had a bounce away from him, allows Fulgrave in. Passeri. Outside 50, gets a call from Richardson but sets him up. He lost his footing anyway. Nelson takes an uncontested mark. That kick puts his own teammate under pressure in Jeps. He's bumped aside by Grasso, picked up by O'Reilly, who kicks to half forward. Fulgrave, rubber chest. Now Freeman. Freeman, a long kick towards half forward, but Ugel's in the way and pulls down a safe defensive mark. 12 minutes gone in this second term. Swans have made good use of the football into the breeze. He goes right across the ground. Broadbridge the target. Good use of the football by Troy Ugle. Broadbridge towards the members' wing. Good contest here between Hasty and Tooby. Now it's with Og. Hand passes inboard. Holmes almost got his first touch. Solly and Hardy go for it. And it's over the line and out of bounds in front of the McDonald stand.
Yes, his experienced Swan Districts players are using that ball. They'll play defensive football here all through this quarter, just kicking it from side to side, holding out the West Perth players. If West Perth don't attack how they attacked before.
Advantage rule paid. The free kick was for Nelson. Robbie West from the point of the square. 55-metre torpedo. Again lands with the Swan Districts defence. Edmonds goes right across the ground and finds Holmes. Holmes from right half back.
Bounces his way up the sports centre wing. Has his first kick of the game at the 11-12 minute mark of the second quarter, but Nelson takes the mark. He goes across the face of the ground to look for Freeman. This is dangerous. Caton has real pace, but he pushes Freeman in the back, and Freeman will get the free kick. Now West Perth have to start looking when they go into the forward line. It's all very well to clear the ball with long kicks, but the one time they have gone forward constructively was when Elliott found Cullen and they goal. Freeman goes for distance again, gets it about 55 metres down in the direction of Hall. Chance for West Perth this time. Hall stood his ground well. Hand passes further afield to Djukovic. He can really move. Puts the ball in towards centre half forward. The target was Cullen. Chance here for West. He took his eyes off the ball. Should have given away the kick. He's given another chance as it goes down to the 50-metre line. Cullen is there. Djukovic has it. Comes back to Cullen. He couldn't trap it, nor could Harris. It's with Og. He was dispossessed. Solid stuff on the half-back line for Swan Districts. They get it wide to Grasso, and eventually they're able to break it up. Grasso's up towards centre wing. This is Bazzo. Bazzo can go towards half-forward. Freeman goes towards him. He kicks to the 50-metre line. Chance for Caton. He and Hardy spoiled one another. They still have the numbers, Swans. Broadbridge was being held. West Perth were lucky to get away with that. The ball's cleared to centre wing and Del Barello. The kick, in fact, came from a West Perth player in Sheldrick. But back goes Swans to the centre of the ground. Sheldrick spoils side bottom. He'll look towards full forward. Not a good kick again. Cullen is outmanoeuvred by O'Neill.
Good play by getting in front there. What we've got here is a classic game of ping pong, you know, with the back lines, half-back lines both dominating at this stage.
O'Neill looks for Richardson. Djukovic arriving late. Richardson rebounds off him and then drives to half-forward. Up over the top ball, a good mark over Fulgrave. Jason Wall goes looking for Kevin Caton. Short-circuiting was Freeman. Crumbs to Dripple. Dripple does well at ground level, pushes it out. Chance now for Curley. He soccers away from Passeri, out of danger, towards the outer side of the ground, and the ball goes bouncing over the line in front of a popular sign for West Australian football.
Trevor, Wally, what we got here was we've got a couple of spare players Swans have got in defence, and then naturally, that leaves their West Perth counterparts loose in the back line. So we've got 5 or 6 players across both half-back lines playing kick to kick.
Og turned back into trouble, then tried to get it to Edmonds, who was dispossessed. Shoveled out by Nelson to Buick. Buick thumps to centre half forward, but they're falling down badly here. Eagles juggled another mark and then ran into Madaffrey. He's a pretty angry man today, Troy Ugle. That's a good foot pass that finds Hardy. Backward of the centre circle, he can go. Kicks to centre half forward. West Perth should mark and do through Freeman. Over the top he goes to Fulgrave. Hardy closing. He thumps it towards half forward. West Perth from behind there. No mark taken by Elliott. Richardson best to recover. Good hand pass to Og. Out wide he goes looking for Broadbridge. He got a favourable bounce and then kicks into the pocket. It's all Swans. Ball misses what he should have taken. Allows Jeps in. That's holding the ball. Play on the call. Passeri's thumped towards the square. Dreffel and Caton. Clears both them. Now side bottom. Couldn't find it. Allowed Dreffel in. He's close to the boundary. Out went the boot. And the free kick to be taken by Dreffel.
He clears it around the outer side of the ground. Curley has it. Just as well that one was picked up, because we saw a very bad kicking incident in the first quarter in which Buick could have been seriously injured. It's with Tuvey now. Another high kick to half forward. Not a lot of percentage in that. And Swans are not paid the mark, but they've got the numbers at ground level. Holmes comes away with it and drives back to half forward. Another chance here for West Perth. Well read off hands by Walker to Passeri. Out wider it goes to accommodate Hasty, who kicks on goal. And Swans have got another one. Their experience a telling factor in this tough second quarter.
Yeah, we saw Greg Walker have a lot to do with that goal there, and Mick Hasty finished it off. Here's the spoil. Walker roved it to Passeri. Must have heard the call from Mick Hasty. Time to steady. Into that difficult breeze. I think it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit rougher out there than what we can envisage here in the broadcasting box.
Subiaco leading Perth. Claremont and East Fremantle finding it hard to score, and Souths and East Perth in a tight struggle. Well, Swans have done extremely well. Edmonds winning on the ball. Shark though by Curley. Good hand pass sends Elliott away from forward of the circle. He goes looking for Cullen. Good mark in front of O'Neill.
Well, Trevor, that's the same combination we've seen kick West Perth's only goal for this quarter, and maybe it's going to work again for them.
Elliott's a beautiful user of the football. Just needs to get it a bit more. But when he does get it, he does do something positive. And the Cullen, distance won't be a worry. Shooting for 3. He takes his time. They need a goal badly here, West Perth, who've been disappointing with the breeze. From 50 metres, that is a very good drop punt. Goal number 3 to Matt Cullen. West Perth close that gap on the Swans, who are 7-3-45. The Falcons are 5-4-34. Back to 11 points. That's been a popular margin.
Yes, well, Cullen finished off that with a good kick, but as I said before, it was a identical build-up with the pass coming there to Cullen, and he didn't have any trouble finishing it off. I think they've got to get a little bit more drive around the centre here from these smaller players. Robbie West had a good quarter, but we need to see more from the likes of him. And Djukovic has gone out of the game, surprisingly, in this quarter as well.
He's gone onto the wing. He's now standing Broadbridge. I think that might have been a ploy to get him away from Ugle. I think they were both going to finish up in trouble. So the margin now is 11 points, 17 minutes gone in the second quarter. West Perth need to get a move on. They need the first kick. No good finessing in a pack like that. Eventually Harris hooks it to the half-forward line. Ugle up over the top of Del Borello, well read by Holmes. Holmes spears it up to the half-forward line where Edmonds has got away from Fulgrave. He will go and can go. His hand pass to side bottom wasn't particularly good. Gives West Perth the chance. They've overrun it back there. Oh, that was cleverly done in there by Tuvey, but then he lost it. Passeri has it. Shark by Driffle, and he's got real pace, Driffle. He chips it down in the direction of Fulgrave. Fulgrave goes further afield. Terrible kick. He had Nelson all on his own down on centre wing, and he went beyond him and put it out of play midway between right centre wing and right half forward.
And Nelson let him know too.
It's 7-3 to 5-4. Swans lead West Perth. This side is not going to be as bad this season as you said they were, Trevor. This West Perth side.
Swans. Oh.
As Zemplis comes over the top but knocks it straight to Og. Og goes infield towards Bazzo. Bazzo's hand pass was backward of the play, made it hard for ball. Passeri still having trouble handling it cleanly. This is side bottom, a very talented young player. He gets it to Bazzo. Danger here for West Perth. Oh, what a terrific kick from Bazzo. Into the teeth of the Northwester, and he has stretched Swans' lead. They've kicked 4 goals into the wind in this quarter, and they've restricted West Perth to 2.
Yes, a difficult position here to kick a goal into this toothless breeze. Young side battle, use the ball. And then we see Bazzo have plenty of time to steady and use his experience to kick that goal, as I said, from the most difficult pocket on the ground today, giving the way the breeze is blowing. I think West Perth have let this game slip away from them a little here. They've kicked the ball up too high and haven't allowed, haven't used the ball as they did in the first quarter. They need to use the ball and get it onto their players a lot quicker.
Well, good thump by Zemplis for West Perth. Djukovic and Richardson, good courage by both players. Richardson tackled too high by Del Borello. Played a good game so far. He's put this out very wide. Hardy should run onto it. He pushes it over the line and out of bounds. With him is Freeman. (8:3:51) plays 5:4:34 in favour of Swans. Edmonds gets Zemplis out of the way, but he was tackled. Og tried to knock it through the traffic. Now he pushes it out. Chance for Proctor on the ground. He emerges, hooks around his body, but Holmes is in front. Carried him a little, and over the top came Elliott and knocks it over the line and out of bounds. Hasn't had a good day so far, Andy Holmes. Nelson and ball from behind. The ball wins the tap easily. Walker in trouble, dispossessed. Buick fumbled, runs back into Walker and is holding the ball. Rick Walker starting to pick up kicks. Well, he's kicked it straight to Zemplis, who flies. Comes back to win the football on the ground, then got a push in the back, and he'll take the free kick for the West Perth side. Basil Zemplis. A little bit undecided. Drop punt, a high one to centre half forward. Ugle sets from behind ball. The two Eagles soared together and both came down awkwardly. This is Grasso finessing out there. He's gone looking for the boundary. Harris is in pursuit. Del Borello there to support Harris. But it's a boundary throw in and good hard running there from Mick Grasso.
Yes, it's nice to see that Mick's running as hard as he is, because that was his most important factor when he was playing well. He's running, and he's got a bit back in his game today.
Hall and Ball.
Beg your pardon?
Hall and Ball are contesting the ruck knock. This is Passeri. One grab this time for Jeff Passeri up to the half-forward line. West Perth under pressure back there as Passeri loses control of it. Trying to get his hand pass away over the top of Jeps, gives Zemplis the chance. That wasn't well done, although it finds Proctor. Thought it had gone out of play. He took a long time, but gets around Hasty. He's looking to do something constructive with it, but they're outnumbered 2-1. And they have to do something about that half-forward line. Here's Ugle. He's looking towards the members' side of the ground. They're streaming up out of defence, the black and whites. Taken by O'Reilly. He's a little undecided. They could have gone to Ugle in the meantime. Now it could come undone. West gets it across to a teammate, Solly. Solly going back towards the 50-metre line. There's no one to kick it to. He's gone long down in the direction of a teammate who was drifting into the pocket. That was Elliott, and that should be 50 metres against West Perth.
Elliott was calling for the ball, but Solly couldn't see him.
Well, it was a terrible kick in that case if it wasn't intended for Elliott.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't see him, all right?
Holmes has the kick and the advantage of a 50-metre penalty. Goes to Richardson, back to Holmes. Holmes to the half-forward line. Going back with the flight of the ball is Proctor. Now Del Borello's loose on centre wing. They have to move it on quickly. That hasn't got the carry. That's a terrible kick. Del Borello and Passeri, and West Perth, instead of being on the attack, find themselves still in defence at half-back.
Well, West Perth are making mistakes, and so are Swans. The easiest way to move into the forward line is by handball, but I think the Swan Districts may be overdoing it a little, but at least they're still trying to get their game going.
Curley about to come onto the ground. I think Jeps is going off. Is West Perth going to attack? Once again, they fall down at centre half forward. Ball to Richardson, good back up from O'Neill. He drives to centre half forward, almost a good mark at ground level by Hasty. He pushes it out. Now the foot race on between Hardy and Freeman. Look at him go to the boundary. Freeman wins front berth, but the ball beat them both. Good endeavour by both players, Noel.
Yes, excellent play by both. Freeman's been very desperate, very good across half-back line. The young kid Hardy's trying to cement his place in this position, in this side, I guess.
Edmonds has rucked well. Hardy and Freeman get tangled up again, and Freeman gets the benefit of the doubt. Freeman with a foot pass. Fullgrave on the end of it, still on his own defensive 50. Switches direction. Del Borello's made himself available again out here. He switches play back towards the middle. Djukovic played on. Lucky to get away with it.
Well called, Trevor.
Djukovic to half forward. Nelson sets. Ball's in the pack. Big pack into the air. No mark taken there. Ball on the ground. And the umpire, O'Reilly, coming in to bounce it down. Neil emerging.
I would have thought that was much the same as the Zemplis circumstance there.
Nelson. Ball into his back. No free kick. Ugle tried to shovel it out. Put under pressure by Buick and Harris. Troy Ugle didn't look comfortable there for a moment, but he's okay.
Noel, Buick's gone right out of the game, hasn't
he? Yes, he has at that.
Ugle
maybe that injury's caught up with him.
Broadbridge ushers that over the line and out of bounds. So West Perth have made, in fact, they've lost ground on the scoreboard. Swans are 8-3-51. West Perth 5-4-34 with 1 minute of time on gone. And one can only say a disappointing term for the Falcons after such a promising start. Perhaps all the fire went out of them in the first quarter. Let's hope not. But they are in danger now. This game slipping away in the third term with Swans with the breeze.
Well, they've won more than their fair share of the ball across the half-back line, but they've given the Swans half-back line marking practice to this stage.
Over the top ball, taken by Solly. He's dispossessed. Going in hard there is Eaton, tackled by Buick. Back to Eaton, over the top he goes, out wide. Robbie West won't keep that in. Another boundary throw in, so some negative football here, but good football by Swans to tie it up.
Well, they'd be happy to have it tied up here in their half-back line.
Well, we sang West Perth's praises in the first quarter. We must do likewise to Swans in this second term. They've outscored the Falcons kicking into the wind as Richardson knocks it away from Buick and gets it out of play again. 26 minutes gone now in the second term. Swans lead 8-3 to 5-4. That's a margin of 17 points. They started the term with a 6-point lead after kicking with the wind in the first quarter. Swans with just 2 first-year players in this team. As Ball gets a hurried kick away from the back line, it lands with Fullgrave. He goes across the face of the ground. And Bazzo will turn this West Perth attack into a Swan Districts attack, and that's a beautiful kick. Penetrating kick to find Broadbridge. He's allowed to run away from the man on the mark and kicks down in the direction of Caton, who spills the chest mark. Driffle could have given away the kick. He can't get the ball clear. Hastie's in there. It comes out to Edmonds. On it goes to Caton, who came out the back of the pack. His hand pass is a shocker. Gives Proctor the chance now. He gets it across to Tuvey, and Tuvey can break it up for West Perth. But he had no one to kick it to. It's rolling towards the boundary line, and West Perth will be praying it goes out. Ugle won't let it. Comes back to get around Curley. Curley is not as committed as he needs to be. Holmes clears up towards the half-forward line. Another good kick into the breeze, and Ogg takes the mark.
David Ogg, back from the Bears. He's outside 50. He sets it up for his forwards. Big pack up again there. Off hands to Hardy. Hardy goes for home, but he's stumbled. Bad mistake by Hardy. Nearly lost his head into the bargain. And the ball tied up in the right full forward pocket. But that man knows the error he made. A little bit too anxious.
If he could find a blade of grass, I'm sure he'd crawl under it.
Yeah. Sempelis and Edmonds. Good work by Edmonds, and a snap goes right across the face and will bounce over the line and out of bounds.
That's poor work. Poor work. Here we see
Hardy.
Here we see Hardy. Got the fit of the fumbles. Passeri's obviously telling him what to do there, but
I think Passeri was calling him on too, in fairness to him. He wanted to give the youngster a bit of a lift and let him kick the goal.
It was dangerous by Ogg to pick that up in the pack. He got away with it. Walker, like a Flemington hurdler, got over the top of Sheldrick. Tuvey soccers it out of danger momentarily. West Perth will win out here through weight of numbers, as you can see. Plenty of support for Proctor through West and others. The kick carries ball on the wing. He gets upended, but the crumbs come to Holmes. He's come into the game once switched into defence. He's kicked into a nest of teammates. One of those, Passeri. The late arriver was Harris. The helmeted Passeri. Ugle has to hurry. Gets around Buick. Now he can set something up for Swans. He kicks towards Broadbridge and also Hasty, but Broadbridge into the air. Now he's been... no, West Perth getting the free kick.
Solly was pulled out of it.
Broadbridge, I think, took the mark, but Solly was interfered with. Ugle up over the top. Couldn't hang on. Buick, good roving. Hand passes towards the boundary. Broadbridge will usher it over. And a boundary throw in right in front of us here, with West Perth trailing at half-time by 17 points. Swans 8-3-51, West Perth 5-4-34.
So a disappointing quarter for West Perth, but great courage and endeavour shown by Swans during that second term. They led at quarter time by 6 points after kicking with the wind, and they've been able to extend that lead by a further 11 points in the second quarter. The goal scorers in the game so far for Swans, Bazzo has 2 and Caton has 2, then singles to Walker, Hardy, Hasty and Ball. The goal scorers for West Perth, 3 to their full forward Matt Cullen and 1 each to Djukovic and Del Barello. So at half-time, Swan Districts 8-3-51 lead West Perth 5-4-34.
Some of your best players to half-time, Noel?
I thought that Broadbridge was very good, as was Ugle and Richardson across that half-back line. Sidebottom was clever in the forward line. Bazzo finished off with a good goal. Greg Walker was very, very busy at the bottom of the packs. And for West Perth, they were lacking in that quarter. I thought that Freeman was very serviceable. Cullen finished off a couple of good forays into the forward line. And apart from that, Robbie West was busy.
But a disappointing term for West Perth, a good term for Swans.
Yes, if I was a West Perth coach, I'd be very disappointed. They went back and kicked the ball high and hoped that there'd be a West Perth player on the end of it. That wasn't the case. They gave Swan Districts a lot of marking practice.
Subiaco in front of Perth, Clermont at East Fremantle in a close game there, despite the loss of players by the Sharks today. And South have got in front of East Perth down at Fremantle Oval in what should turn out to be a pretty good game in that match there. So here at half-time, it's Swans by 17 points over West Perth, and let's hope that West Perth can find something into the breeze in the third quarter.
Craig Treleaven, an obvious football talent that almost slipped the net. Welcome back to Bassendean Oval, where the teams are back out on the ground after half-time in this game between Swan Districts and West Perth. At half-time, Swan Districts 8-3, West Perth 5-4. And Swans are leading by 17 points. The other leaders in league football this afternoon are Subiaco in front of Perth, East Fremantle in front of Clermont, and South Fremantle in front of East Perth. Well, if East Fremantle fans were saying Craig who last week, then you can imagine how West Perth supporters felt late last year when they learnt that their 1992 coach was to be Jeff Gieschen. Jeff who? They had every right to ask that question, and perhaps some of them are still asking. To find out a little bit more about Jeff Gieschen, Tanya Armstrong spoke to him before today's game.
Jeff, how hard was it to come to a new state and coach a squad of players totally foreign to you?
Well, I suppose, Tanya, when I had the opportunity to come to West Perth, there wasn't too many doubts in my mind that I should be taking that step. I had been coaching in country Victoria for some 12 or 13 years, and I just felt that this opportunity to come to West Australia, where the footy is always of a terrific quality, was just an opportunity I couldn't give up.
Was it a hard decision to make, considering you were well established in country Victoria?
Oh, sure, it was, I suppose, from that point of view. Of course, all my family's back there, and the club that I'd been coaching had been perennially successful over the last 6 or 7 years, and I suppose to walk away from that into a club that has been struggling a bit the last couple of years was always some sort of a risk, but I suppose from a coaching point of view, that's what makes it so attractive, the challenge involved, and at West Perth we've no doubt got that, and that's why I've come here.
What was the incentive, considering I believe there's a lot more money offering in country Victoria?
Well, yeah, that's probably true. There is a lot more money being offered to the players coming out of AFL football into country Victoria at the moment. And certainly money wasn't an issue as far as I was concerned. The main thing was that I had a job to go to with the education department, which fell into place. But the challenge of being at a club which had been down for a few years and I suppose being singled out as a coach that might be able to lift that club up the ladder was the thing that appealed to me, and that's probably why I came.
How have you fitted in at the club with your support staff, etc.?
Oh, look, I've been very impressed. I think, having been down the last couple of years, everybody around the place is very hungry to do well, and the support staff have been very cooperative and, have been working very hard the whole way through, and even the administration, I mean, not that coaches often work real closely with those people, but they have been overly supportive, and I just think that everybody is on the right foot here at the moment. I know that we haven't set our goals real high at the moment. We're just trying to, achieve one goal at a time, and I suppose the first thing we're wanting to do is become competitive with what's happening in the WAFL and to become a disciplined club, and I think that's what has been happening over the last couple of weeks, and I suppose down the track we want to start winning more and more games.
How does the standard of football in the WAFL compare to the standard of football you were used to coaching?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that across the board the WAFL football is a lot stronger. I mean, your 20th player at each club is a lot stronger than the 20th player that I've been coaching where I have been. I was fortunate enough, though, to coach a very powerful club in Wodonga, and we often used to play the VFA sides in Victoria and beat them quite convincingly. So from that point of view, they were a good club to coach, but there's no doubt in my mind that the WAFL football is probably the best outside of AFL football.
Does that higher standard make it easier to coach, if there's such a thing?
No, coaching's never easy. I think anybody who believes that they move up a standard and it becomes easier is thinking up the wrong tree there. But it's easy in the sense that the players are slightly more motivated. There's no doubt about that. They're all wanting to do as well as they can at the highest level. So the players here are probably a little bit more motivated. But in terms of coaching against some of these clubs over here, I know I've got my work cut out, not just with the clubs but with their coaches and with the way they go about things, and the whole professionalism of the league is probably a lot higher. So I'll have my work cut out, but we're working hard towards it.
Jeff Gieschen with Tanya Armstrong. He's certainly going to have his work cut out here, trying to lift this side. The Falcons back into the game. They trail by 17 points. They're going into the breeze in this third quarter as umpire O'Reilly gets the second half underway. Nelson down to West was good work. West hooks across his body to centre half forward. This is where they've fallen down. Did Eaton want to go?
I think he might have.
His progress was retarded, of course. He was given the benefit of the doubt. So Eaton to centre half forward. Nelson's there. Through his hands, also through the hands of Curley. Ricochets back to Driffle. He goes right across the ground. A dangerous ploy, but it'll come off this time. This is Tooby, deep in defence. Goes to half back and finds West. West towards half forward. Ball's in front of O'Reilly rather. Knocked down by O'Reilly, taken by Richardson. Richardson's kicked to half forward. Side bottom couldn't keep it in play. Tooby arriving late, and a boundary throw in at left half forward for Swans. 3 or 4 quick goals by the Swans side will put this game out of reach of West Perth. Nelson wins the tap. Harris, sharked though by Ogg. Kick didn't go anywhere and lands with Tooby. Tooby ahead of the play, dangerous hand pass. Delbarello shepherds Basiri. Harris goes looking for the boundary and finds it.
Throw in to take place at right centre wing for West Perth. Swans lead by 17 points. A crucial quarter, this one. If West Perth can hold Swans, then they're still in with a chance of causing an upset. Edmonds with clean possession, gets it to side bottom, who's got enough pace to run away from Tuvey. Beautiful hand pass to Bazzo. Back on an open goal. The bounce is crucial, and it bounced the wrong way for Swans. Curley was the player pursuing it back, and I would think that probably 6 or 7 times out of 10 that ball would probably have broken left, because that was the way it was. It seemed to be travelling, but it went to the right, and a point results. The short kick in is to Curley. Now, this is one player who really needs to lift. He needs to fulfil that obvious potential. It's a good kick, and he's found Driffle. Driffle is still backward of the half-back line. Terrible kick. Now, ball will punish West Perth. He goes back towards Hasty at the back of the pack, and Hasty will shoot for goal from 25 metres out. Well, that really was an appalling kick by Driffle. He had a player short, he had a player long, and he kicked it to the man between them. That was Jason Ball. There goes Hasty's kick at goal, and I think he's missed.
What a great pass there by Ball. But Hasty wasn't good enough there from that tight angle to finish that goal off, but certainly was a good kick to position by the big player Ball.
Now Jeps has been given the job of putting the ball back into play. That's the difference between the sides. West Perth with their backs to the wall. Nelson standing tall, plays it off to Driffle. Driffle finds Proctor, backward of the centre circle. He changes direction, goes out wide, plays the correct flank. Out there though for Swan Districts was Eaton. He fisted it away. High tackle put on O'Reilly, and he's given the free kick by umpire Phil O'Reilly. No relation. Broadbridge from centre wing to centre half forward, but Freeman's in the way this time for West Perth. He goes back at the play to Curley. Curley from centre half back, kicks towards the middle of the ground. Djukovic got underneath that. Allowed an easy ride here for Ugle. Coming to meet him, Sheldrick. Over the top to Pasiri. Pasiri goes inboard to centre half forward and Cater. A bit too easy, Swans, and they're looking very ominous here at the moment. And one could see the floodgates opening if West Perth can't put the brakes on. Breeze still blowing with good velocity down the ground, and Caton, who is a magnificent kick, will go very close from here, from just outside 50. Good study of concentration. Not a bad looking drop punt, but it's angled slightly away and one behind the result. So perhaps he could have done better, although kicking from 50 to 55 metres. 4 minutes gone in this third term. 20 points the margin in favour of the home side.
This third quarter hasn't started at quite the same frantic pace as the first. As Driffle goes up, the ball to the front of the pack, and I think that was Holmes who was caught with the ball. Had absolutely no chance of getting rid of it, and there'll be a bounce down on Swan's 50-metre line. West Perth's little players have to fight their way back into this game if they're to make a contest of it. Holmes has it now, using the right foot, bending it back. It's a good kick too. Jeps is back there. With him is Hasty, and with a little bit of help from Curley, Jeps gets it over the line. Michael Jeps at full-back, a former Australian under-20 and under-18 javelin champion. He's a very strong young lad, very athletic. And this is likely to be his first full season of league football. Good kick in too, looking for Tuvey. Beautiful kick. Gets it off to Del Borello. Del Borello goes short into the centre of the ground and finds Fulgrave. They have to use the ball well. Proctor's running hard to the half-forward line. That's not using the ball well. Intended for Tuvey. He'll get to it. Gets around Pasiri with the kick and finds West. Now Djukovic is running hard into the pocket. He stands down to allow Buick to contest. He's got genuine pace and genuine skill. What a kick from Glenn Buick. He is a replica when he's out there of elder brother Darren, the third Buick brother to play league football. Wouldn't Dad Ron be proud of that feat? And this young fellow has enormous potential.
Here we see the pass from Robbie West. Djukovic stayed down. Buick punched the ball from behind where he was positioned and was good enough to recover and steady him. What a great snap on the left foot. What a great goal that was. And West Perth certainly need it, being now only 2 goals behind, but still facing uphill task into this breeze in this third quarter.
15 points the margin now. Nelson and Edmonds. Edmonds has done well. Knocked away by Edmonds from Walker there, who was about to take possession. It didn't matter. Grasso got it. His kick to the 50-metre line. Not committing himself completely there was Solly. The ball back to half-back. West Perth player Sheldrick in trouble. Now mopped up by Proctor. Good hand pass to Elliott from centre wing. Hand pass straight to the opposition. And thumped back by O'Reilly to centre half forward. Clears the pack. At the back it's Ball who trapped it cleverly, but he's run down by Nelson. And now it's Jeps who gets it away to West. West goes for the foot pass. And now West Perth can mount a challenge again on the outer side of the ground. He's got back up from Sheldrick. Sheldrick to centre half forward, and Djukovic. And Djukovic goes looking for Cullen. That's not a bad kick. Cullen badly interfered with. No free kick. Richardson didn't have the football, and that was seen.
He did have it. Let it go. I thought
Momentarily.
Yes.
What about the free kick to Cullen?
We all missed that one, Trevor.
Swans clear it away on the other side of the ground, and Walker knocks it over the boundary line. You brought your kids well.
It's a hard school in the trip.
It is tough. It is very tough. We've been unlucky since 1975, West Perth.
That's why I stopped following them, mate. That was a good tackle applied out there by Sheldrick. Put Swans under pressure. Richardson sends the hand pass to half forward, and Walker, he was brilliantly tackled. Got the hand pass away towards Hardy. Hurried kick in towards full forward. Caton on the end of it. Curley went one hand. He's still in control of the ball. Now he loses it. But he could perhaps have marked that.
Could have been a little more committed, I think, what you were saying, Wally.
And I think that's happened a couple of times today. He's such a talent, Todd Curley. Out of that Warwick Junior program that has produced some very exciting prospects, and he is the equal of any of them if he'll commit himself to league football. Solly taking the ball over the line. Solly changing sporting attire this season, member of the state cricket squad, and here he is turning out with the Falcons as Nelson jostles with Ball and with strength gets front position. Ball got it down to Og. Chance for Curley, off the ground by Holmes and out on the full, but that's the sort of kick that Andy Holmes can sometimes convert. Opposing supporters have their hearts in their mouths when Andy Holmes attempts a kick like that.
It's Fulgrave kicking to half back. Swans well placed through Ball, who couldn't bring it down from the back. Good roping by Buick. Kicks to the centre wing, and O'Reilly has absolutely thrashed Hall. He looks to be hopelessly out of form. A central kick to find Richardson. And on the end of the foot pass is David Ogg from centre half forward. He goes for home. It won't reach. In the square is Fulgrave. He got his hands to that in front of Hasty, and one behind the result.
Well, Swans trying to move the ball here quickly and make something of it. I think that's the right way to go. I mean, if they go back and kick long, we'll have the same situation as last quarter. So Swans trying to make things happen. West Perth holding on valiantly at this stage.
Fulgrave finds Tuvey, backward of centre half back. Leads are closed down, so he kicks and hopes out here towards Solly. Hardy over the top of him. Edmonds pushes it out, taken by Solly, dispossessed by Broadbridge. In goes Sheldrick. He shovels it forward, knocked back by O'Reilly. Very scrambly football, and the umpire wants a bounce. On the point of the square, right half forward for Swans. They lead by 16 points, 11 minutes into the third quarter.
Minutes just ticking away here. West Perth won't be concerned with this situation, but I would think they would want to be within 3 or 4 goals at three-quarter time to have any chance. Broadbridge has it now, got out of that situation far too easily. Goes looking for Hasty, spoilt by Fulgrave. Swans have the numbers. That's Bazzo going back on goal. That's a great snap again from Bazzo. He's shown some real goal sense this afternoon, Steve Bazzo. And he's got his third. Swans move to 9-8. West Perth are 6-4, and that's the goal that West Perth didn't need.
Here we see Fulgrave spoil. Bazzo was there for the crumbs. That was a real Rovers goal, but I don't think we class Bazzo as a rover, but certainly a great snap on the left foot. We've seen quite a few snaps on the left foot here today, and maybe it was boots off last week. Maybe it's left foot snaps this week.
Tuned into ABC Radio. Nelson wins the tap easily. Sharked away by West Perth's Elliott. Hall a chance. Good running there from Harris, but he fumbled badly. Allowed Eaton in. He gets a hand pass to Bazzo. Bazzo kicks back to the middle, but straight to West. Bounces off his chest. He's got good recovery and good vision.
Play.
Very good vision. Djukovic doesn't let him down. He hooks towards the top of the square. I don't know about the wisdom of that. He should have gone back. Now it's broken up by Grasso. Grasso goes looking for Richardson, but the kick carries with a breeze and lobs with West.
Isn't he working hard, Trevor? Working very hard.
West to centre half forward, and the mark pulled down by Elliott. He's outside 50. Cullen's on a lead, is he? No, not Cullen. Hall too wide for him. Proctor was held. Play on the call. Still it's Proctor. Pushes it to Nelson. Nelson barges through. Buick takes the crumbs. Another snap from Buick, though. This time it's offline. And one behind the result.
I'd like to have another look at the transference from Nelson
The big
to
Nelson
Buick.
handball, yes. It looked a bit doubtful, but the umpire's in the best position.
Perfect hand pass.
I doubt that we'll see that one again.
Ugle.
Very strong West Perth influence in this crew, Noel.
O'Reilly up over the top of him, and very half-heartedly was Hall, who's playing like a lame duck. The kick from centre half back to centre half forward has been broken down again here. West Perth get it out from Curley to Freeman. Freeman's kick is ill-directed, lands with side bottom. His kick smothered by Curley, crumbs to Harris. Harris kicks to half forward, again a badly directed kick. Eaton's run his full measure. Goodness gracious me, he's run 25 metres, but he's found a teammate.
Hasty gets it on quickly. That's very loose checking, and Ball will shoot for goal from 45 metres. Jepp's getting back there belatedly. Jason Ball on about a 30-degree angle. We'll get a good shot of this right over his shoulder. The breeze will be right at his back. It's still a nor'wester here at Bassendean Oval. 1 goal each so far in this quarter. Ball can put Swans in front for the term. Wasn't a good effort. And Freeman, I think, feigning that leap at the ball to wrong foot everyone and make sure that it went out on the full.
Wally, I don't want to take over as coach here, but I think West Perth would be well advised to make a positional change at centre half forward, and they've attacked well this quarter, and maybe they could get a bit more bite if they move someone, you know, and give Hall a spell, maybe if they switch the full forward and the centre half forward, just something different.
Bring Cullen out and put Hall back is the suggestion from Noel Carter, as Freeman's kick goes out on the full, and Edmonds will bring it back into play for Swans. He goes to centre half forward. It's all Swans. They nearly collided with one another, messed it up anyway. Richardson caught in the pack. Tuvey's hand pass was smothered. Og ran into Del Borello's backside. Sharp gets it out to Hasty, hurriedly to the top of the square. Jeps up over the top of Ball, and West Perth rush it over the goal line. That was well done by Jeps, but they were under enormous pressure back
West
there.
Perth under the hammer there, and they came up goods. I mean, they've got to keep holding Swans out if they're going to stay in this game, and they're doing a good job at the moment.
Basil Zemplis reckons the only way that West Perth can win is to push the grandstand over.
That number 1 on his back looks like the white line on the freeway, doesn't it?
West Perth player pulled off the kick, but the crumbs come down to Sheldrick. Curley it was who was dumped. Now Tuvey's taken the mark. Fulgrave over the top. Djukovic gets it on. Harris run down. The ball's up for grabs in the middle of the ground.
Ooh.
West into the back of a Swans player. No free kick. Broadbridge goes in hard on Proctor. West emerges. Good hand pass to Elliott. Eaton's got pace though. Pulls him off the kick. It's slid off the side of the boot and finds Buick. That was incredible. Buick's gone for the foot pass, and the mark is taken by Del Borello. 25 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Once again, Elliott's passing was straight on the button.
Well,
he was pulled into it. Del Borello, I reckon my mother could have kicked better than that.
I don't think we can blame the wind there. I think that's just a basic concentration lapse.
gee, that's a terrible
And those
mistake.
sort of lapses lose games, as we saw last week.
You could kick a bag of berry floss further than that.
Not on a windy day like this, Trip.
O'Neill goes looking for Richardson.
Oh, that's 50.
very late and very silly.
Well, he's told us something about his makeup there. He's just undone what has been a very good day for him.
And I think Ugle's telling him too, Wally. I think he's been told.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
Play goes on. Caton comes out to meet the football. He's outside 50. Hand pass to Hasty. Hasty from 25. Makes no mistake. And the silly football, as Wally mentioned, at the other end of the ground by Djukovic. Inexperience. And they paid the penalty, Noel.
Yes, they certainly did.
He's going to be reported. I think he's been reported by O'Reilly for unduly rough play.
Well, I don't think it was that rough. I think it was just a careless mistake. We've seen a few other careless mistakes today that haven't been reported, but I can't see anything too rough about that.
Well, the only thing about that is that you can be seriously injured, Noel, can't you? As we saw Pios last year in the AFL game when he suffered a serious back injury. I mean, if the player can't stop, I accept that it's part of the game, but clearly he could have stopped on that occasion.
Nevertheless, we can't take away that good goal from Mick Hasty from a handball from Kate.
Exactly, and it's 27 points the margin now, so West Perth need to respond here. It'll be interesting to see what effect that incident has on Swan Districts and West Perth, as West Perth try and get it out of the centre. West taking a long time to get rid of it. Proctor met solidly by Broadbridge, but fairly, and he really felt that, Joe Proctor. And we'll have a bounce midway between the centre of the ground and centre half forward for West Perth.
Robbie West playing a lone hand here for West Perth at the moment.
Yes, West Perth have got to take stock of themselves. They fought so hard, made little ground on the scoreboard, and then suddenly Swans get a couple of goals and they're in trouble. Hurried kick from Harris has been chopped off for Swans by O'Reilly. He's got plenty of time to work out what he's going to do. Then kicks effectively to Hawes, who's on the ground right in the centre circle. Todd Hawes kicks long to half forward. Big vacant space there. Freeman did well. Jeff has to beat two players and has done it pretty well so far. Knocks it across to Sheldrick, I think it was. The kick goes into the centre of the ground and Grasso takes the mark.
Mick Grasso.
He's played on.
Back into the side. Goes out very wide. Good vision by Grasso to find Broadbridge. He was 15 metres in the clear. Chip into the pocket. Richardson's everywhere. Over the top to Holmes from 30 metres out. He's offline. The kick was too narrow. And perhaps that deserved a goal because it was a positive move and set up for the middle of the ground by Grasso. That's Madaffrey.
Hasn't had a big influence on the game today, but Madaffrey's been on and off quite often.
28 points the margin in favour of Swans. Fulgrave back into play. Zempelis in front. Ball too talented and too tall. Goes to centre half forward. Hawes trapped it cleverly.
Ball showing a lot of confidence there, Trev, marking from behind.
It was a bit too good for Zempelis at this stage.
Just starting to rain now, Trevor.
The kick from 60 metres is offline and carries through for a behind though, and certainly carried with the breeze. Yes, there's certainly some rain coming, and I'd say that'll be the last straw for West Perth if it rains in the last quarter, because now they're getting out of their depth. 71 to 42.
Well, it might be their saving grace if it rains now and stops for the last quarter, because Swans are steamrolling all before them at the moment. It's 10-11 to 6-6, and there is a good mark taken by Tuvey, close to the boundary line. West Perth having difficulty working into the wind. Bringing it around the scoreboard side. Nelson was up, and across the top O'Reilly, who gets it out of play. Throw in to take place at right centre wing for West Perth.
Solly having a spill there, Wally.
Nelson in the background. Ball comes in and gets front position. Walker, well shepherded by Richardson. This is Ogg towards full forward. Caton on the lead. Off Dripple's head. No one in the square. And Kevin Caton, Swans' leading goal scorer last year with 75 goals, kicks another this afternoon. That's his third. And that's the sort of goal that can break a team's spirit.
Yes, a mercurial goal here. Here we see Hogg driving. It was a good pass from Hogg to a leading Caton. He had his hands on it, bounced off Driffle's head, recovered it. It's made 2 or 3 different changes on this way to goal and gone. This time the Swans did get the right bounce. A great goal by Kevin Caton, playing in his 100th game today for Swan Districts.
Subiaco in front of Perth. Claremont leading East Fremantle. Great fight back by East Perth in front of South there at Fremantle Oval. East Perth have turned things around the last couple of weeks. Proctor went in hard. Emerging with the football though is Tuvey. He's kicked to half forward. Hall and Eaton. The mark has been played to Hall. Bit lucky, Noel?
Yes. Stuck in the hands.
Now his target is Cullen. From behind O'Neill. O'Neill spoils effectively. Broadbridge knocks it onto O'Neill. Good football, but he's caught by Cullen. However, he had presence of mind to get it to Richardson. He's got a padding. confronted by Zemplis, gets around him easily. Still he goes, Richardson. That's not a good hand pass, although Hawes does well. Freeman didn't commit his body hard enough, and on the end of the good-looking pass is Travis Edmonds.
Great transfer of play there by Swan Districts from their half-back line. A couple of nice kicks, and with pinpoint accuracy, found Edmonds, what's he, 25 metres out, 30 metres out.
Directly in front, interesting approach. I think he's made the distance and the accuracy, and Swans starting to run away here. Troubles for Gieschen. At the moment he wishes he's back in Wodonga.
Well, Mike Richardson set this goal up. He drew the player, then put Hawes under a little pressure, but he was good enough to handle it. And then once again the foot pass, straight on the chest to Edmonds, who had no trouble finishing the goal off. All these left footers are very accurate, Wally.
So the margin's 41 points. Yes, they are, Noel. Too accurate for West Perth's point of view. The Swans left footers as Broadbridge sends them forward again towards the half-forward line. Holmes and Del Borello. Holmes will be first back to it. And that's a clever kick off the ground. Jeps comes across to meet it. Gets away from Edmonds. And that will go close to the boundary line. He's kept it in play. Oh, simple mark. Uncontested. West Perth not committed at the moment as Hawes takes the mark just inside 50 metres. And it's interesting to watch their forward set up. We know they're having trouble at centre half forward, but they're very Cullen conscious when they go towards full forward. On that previous occasion, Djukowicz was on his own in the pocket, but they went across to the dead pocket looking for Cullen. And as a result, Swans scored at the other end, and they've scored at that end again from the boot of Hawes. 13-11 to 6-6. This has been a 5-goal quarter for Swan Districts. West Perth have added 1 goal into the win, but this could well be a match-winning quarter as far as Swans are concerned.
Here we see Broadbridge picking out Hawes, who has given Swan District something since half-time, since he was placed at centre half forward. He's moved around, he's been on the end of quite a number of accurate passes from further down the field, and is really showing up this quarter. Been very impressive. There you can see him doing plenty of talking as well.
Well, there were danger signs for West Perth at the end of the second quarter, and they've emerged even further in this third term. Bazzo robbed of the football by West. West did well there, but his kick lands with Eaton, who couldn't control it. Tackled by Harris, got his kick in though. Fumble by Hawes, socket by Hall, but it's all Swans. They've been dynamic at half-back. O'Reilly's kicked the centre half forward through the hands of Hasty. Over the top, Fulgrave. Hawes again. Proctor met him solidly, rather Freeman. And Freeman kicks the centre half forward, but O'Reilly's just too good.
He's playing in front.
Rock solid.
That time.
Won't need the shades.
They might need windscreen wipers before the end of the day. This is David Ogg now. Swans are doing what they like. They're running down the field in numbers. Hardy kicks towards full forward. That's ill-directed, and it lands with Curley. He plays on. Not a good-looking kick. Djukowicz will fly and does a good job. Just doesn't hang on long enough, though, to be awarded the mark. It goes back inboard from Hall to Tuvey. His kick to the point of the square. Zemplis outnumbered.
Where's the little fellas for West Perth? No one around.
No one sighted. So Ball gets it out to Ugle. Goes across the ground. Ugle to Hardy. That was too slick for him. Allows Hall in. Hardy does well. Knocks it on, though. Richardson goes in hard and gives away the free kick. Madaffrey.
Look, they've got leads everywhere.
Djukowicz. 60 metres out from goal. Cullen's the target. He's in front of O'Neill. O'Neill over the top. Gives away the kick. No free kick on offer, though. Pretty ordinary umpiring by O'Reilly. West goes in hard. So does David Ogg. And over the top of them, number 23 is Hall. But no chance there.
Trevor, that situation on the forward line then has been on offer throughout this quarter, and it's the first time anyone has capitalised on it. They didn't score from it, but at least got the ball towards full forward.
Ball up for grabs. Buick's in there, wrestling with David Ogg. Zemplis emerges. Now it's fed out towards a teammate in Sheldrick. Dispossessed by Kaziri. Port holding the ball and play allowed to go on. The advantage rule paid. Good spoil by Jepson Edmonds. At the back, Curley. The oncoming player was Hawes. The ball squirts out towards Hasty. Hasty gets it on to Walker. Walker in the pocket. Finessing. Goes back of the play to Hasty. He's a good snap shoot. Snap kick for goal. He's offline this time and one behind the result.
I think the situation there, we had Walker trying to turn into the play to open up the goal mouth so that they had a better chance of converting. He got it back to Hasty, but he wasn't quite good enough to finish it off.
Jeps kicks in short, and he finds Sheldrick, who will have to hurry, gets rid of Holmes. This is Del Borello, and that is intended for Harris. Up over the top of Passeri. It's just a little bit breezy out there now, and the ball goes out of play right in front of our broadcast position on West Perth's right centre wing.
Well, Passeri's lifted his game a bit as the game's gone on. As the game's gone on, I think he's got better. He's probably a bit short of a hit out.
Zemplis and Ball, convincing ruck knock by Ball, but West Perth take it away, or do they? Tuvey knocks it further afield. Chance now for Harris, committed to picking it up. He did that well, and as a result, West Perth are able to effect a throw in, whereas they could have conceded possession. This is the young fellow recruited from Wodonga by Jeff Gieschen, brought him with him. Zemplis, who's trying very hard, breaks from the pack, needs a good kick, and it's not a good kick. Ugle chips in, close to the boundary line, well played by Cullen. Swans still have possession, however. O'Reilly kicks back towards centre wing. Fulgrave should spoil, but it's all Swan Districts at ground level. This is Hawes. They're running through the midfield. The clearing kick is from Peel towards centre half forward, but a good defensive mark taken by Curley, who that time got in front and stayed in front. A very lax hand pass, but Proctor has time. Turley provides the shepherd. Oh, it has to be a good mark. It's been awarded to Sheldrick. He was wedged between two opponents. On they go to Driffle, who hadn't passed the man on the mark. That put Driffle under pressure. Clearing kick to the outer side of the ground. West Perth very ineffective at the moment.
See, that's just hopeless football, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't a good hand pass from Sheldrick because Driffle was still running at the man on the mark. Throw in on West Perth's left centre wing, outer side of the ground. They could do with a shower of rain on that outer bank. Hall and Ball. Broadbridge pulled off the ball. Chance for Buick. And we'll have another bounce.
Buick's hurt.
Yes, he got kicked in the first quarter, and now I think he's been kicked again.
And they always hurt the second time on the same
his
spot.
arm this time, I think. Swans had the better of the duels between these two clubs last year. They won 2 to West Perth 1. I think they're going to make a good start to these contests this year as Broadbridge is taken high.
The free kick was obvious. Michael Broadbridge has had a good game. Foot pass was meant for Grasso. It was at Grasso level. He's battling hard out there. He gets a hand pass. It was blind. Broadbridge tries to keep it in by foot and does well. The crumbs come to Holmes. Holmes kicks towards the square. Caton, up he goes. Ball hits the post and one behind the result.
Good defence there by the West Perth players.
Well, Swans have had a great quarter. They've kicked 5 goals, 10 in that quarter, to go to 91, 13-13-91, and West Perth 6-6-42, and adding only the 1 goal from Glenn Buick. With those goal scorers, once again, here's Wally Foreman.
Decisive 49-point margin now in favour of Swans. At quarter time it was 6 points. At half time it was 17 points. And now what would appear to be a match-winning lead, 49 points. Swans lead by at three-quarter time. But West Perth will have the wind in the final term. The goal scorers for Swans so far in the game, 3 each to Bazzo and Caton, 2 to Hasty, and singles to Hawes, Walker, Edmonds, Hardy and Ball. The goal scorers for West Perth, 3 to Cullen and 1 each to Buick, Del Borello and Dukowicz. 13-13 Swan Districts, 6-6 West Perth, a margin of 49 points as the scores from the other grounds are updated.
Yes, and Perth and Subiaco, a very close game there. Claremont and East Fremantle, also fairly tight. East Perth have now got the jump on South Fremantle at Fremantle Oval, but the Perth-Subi game could be going right down to the wire, as could be the game at Claremont Oval. Well, West Perth's only goal for the quarter was a very clever snap that came off the boot of Glenn Buick.
Yes, here's the West Perth build-up to this goal. They used the ball cleverly into the breeze. We see Robbie West going along there. That's Buick spoiling the ball from Mick Grasso and was good enough to recover and then snap a good left foot goal.
Good thing about Buick, Noel, is that he's got genuine pace too, hasn't he?
Very genuine, which helps. Here we see Ball tapping the ball down to Broadbridge. Broadbridge sidesteps. Then shoots the ball to centre half forward. Bazzo swooped in, left foot. Order of the day here for goals, and no trouble finishing that one off.
So it'll be a pretty happy Swan District's camp, and the man who's been around for a long time, John Todd, and the strain showing on the face of Craig Nelson as he listens to the three-quarter time address from Jeff Gieschen. But the Falcons in hot water here at Bassendean Oval, and they really are looking down the barrel of defeat. Rain clouds are coming in. They're kicking with the breeze in the last term. It would almost take a miracle for West Perth to get back into this match, let alone win it, Noel.
Well, I don't think West Perth can get back into this game because they haven't had the finesse with the breeze to be able to use the ball and pinpoint with enough pinpoint accuracy. They've only had one player working well enough to even bring them into the game. That's Robbie West at this stage. Here we see Nelson and Ball contest the ball. Walker used the ball to David Ogg, and the long kick towards Caton. The ball bounced off his opponent's head, and he was able to snap probably the best goal of the day so far.
Really, that was a very telling goal too. Really hurt West Perth. This is a very good mark.
Robbie West working hard again. And David Elliott, as we said, during the commentary, has used the ball when that time was pulled off the ball. And Buick outstretched. Was able to take a comfortable mark in the end.
Many of the same mannerisms as Darren Buick too, hasn't he? With mouth open when going for the ball, and he's got that same pace, but he just, it's an uncanny look-alike.
Haven't seen him give the umpire a spray yet, though, like Darren can.
He has a chat to the umpires, does he?
No, something I noticed looking at the teams on paper, West Perth looked to have a very inexperienced defence. Their forward line looked as if they could be capable of kicking quite a few goals, but across the half-forward line, except for that first term from Djukovic, West Perth have been absolutely blanketed by the Swans' defence. That's been their telling factor.
Yes, I think Derek Hall's been sadly out of touch, and as we said in the call, maybe it might have been an opportune time to transfer him somewhere else. But they have fallen down. But you know, the Swan District's players have been rebounding off those situations. And
Richardson's played well.
Particularly this guy. I was going to mention Mike Richardson. He sets this goal up here by drawing the player. He'll flick it over here to Todd Hawes. Now Hawes was a little what we call a hospital hand pass, but he was able to recover and fire it in on the chest of Edmonds, who didn't let the side down. But yeah, Richardson's been a strong rebounding half-back, come utility player.
Right, and Travis Edmonds also has been a very good ruckman. You can see the weather closing in rapidly.
That light's a bit bright, isn't it, on the tower?
Certainly going to be problems in this last term. Now, is Tanya ready for us? Let's go down to Tanya Armstrong.
Thanks, Trevor. John Todd said they're not out of the woods yet, and his team can't afford to be loose. He says no need to do anything silly, just continue to run the ball wide and run that clock down. Jeff Gieschen still very positive, trying to G his side up. He said they're 6 or 7 goals down, but they're still in with a chance. He says they got 30 minutes to put something on the scoreboard, and he singled out Paddy Medaffery as the man who can do that.
Thank you, Tanya. Craig Nelson with the weight of the world on his shoulders going into this last term. He's tried his heart out for West Perth, but he hasn't had enough teammates to help him along the way. Well,
no. They need a big effort from their experienced players during this final quarter. Swans start the final term with a 49-point lead as Nelson hooks the ball towards the members' wing. Bazzo claims possession. He gets it away to Hawes. Hawes hurriedly towards the members' side of the ground. Freeman leading in the race, but the ball bounces away from him, and the throw will take place at right half forward for Swan Districts. And I'm just looking to see what changes have been made. I think Djukovic has actually gone to centre half forward, and Ugel's gone there with him. Hall appears to be in the pocket. So Cullen's still at full forward.
He's left it a long time to make a move.
As Nelson gets the ball down to the side of the pack, and Fulgrave tried to do a little too much. Nelson barges through the pack, not able to clear the ball. Fulgrave in on top of it and emerges with the ball. I'm not sure of the wisdom of that. He's been penalised for holding it. He probably would have been better off tying it up under there or knocking it clear rather than taking possession of it. It's with Greg Walker. from right half forward. Kicks in the direction of Caton. Big leap, carried under it. Ball at the back of the pack. This is Passeri. Curley's got to get back on the line. He's caught under it. Peel was the player who came in late, and Peel has got it out of play. Well done by the youngster. A recruit from the Swan District's Junior Council, Mazenod College. Throwing it left full forward. Nelson from behind ball. Another chance for Swans. That was Og. It's gone straight up in the air. Caton is under it. Well spoilt by Driffle. Chance for Curley. Leads the hurried kick. Did that well. The ball grubbered to the boundary line, and West Perth will get a throw in at left half back.
Swans doing the attacking into the breeze.
Some of these players have got to adjust their play now because that ball is a little bit slippery, and they've got to change to a wet weather mode of football now.
Nelson from behind wins the tap. Og didn't have it when tackled, and Harris running it over the line and out of bounds. The way West Perth started in this game, Noel, I thought we were going to see a very good contest today. Nelson, a beautiful palm. He was looking for Proctor. Broadbridge held when he didn't have it. Interesting pass towards Og. Emerging again here is Harris. Brilliant smother by Broadbridge. Clever football. Brilliant pickup. Hooks around the corner, but that let him down. Nelson thumps it to half forward. Hall has it punched away by O'Reilly into the path of Elliott. Elliott goes looking for Cullen. It's a one-out situation with O'Neill. Ball on the ground. In goes Edmonds. Back comes Cullen. O'Neill pushes it out wide. That was good football. Buick and Grasso. Now Hall pushed out of the way too easily by O'Reilly. Knocked upfield by Grasso. And coming in the nick of time was Valbarello. And he's telling Andy Holmes that I think he was a little bit slack in the way he approached the football.
Trevor, you called it there with Hall. I don't think there's enough fire in the belly there at this stage.
Someone's put it out. He has had an inglorious day. What's wrong, I don't know with him. He's a far better footballer than he's shown today. But I think Gieshen's left him there at centre-half forward far too long.
Well, I think he's left the responsibility up to the player, Trevor, and without too many options, that's not an unreasonable thing for the coach to do.
Well, he's getting thrashed.
There's no question about that.
Right across that line, and you had to make moves to try and infuse a bit of life in that half-forward line.
Another dog on the ground.
Edmonds has got the football.
Surely they'll stop.
Freeman will fly. Hawes in the pack. Freeman.
I suggest
over the line and out of bounds.
I suggest the boundary umpire might have been distracted by the dog then.
Nelson will do the ruck work here. Hawes has had an influence on the game since he's come on. Nelson over the top of him that time. Pushed through the traffic by Harris. Proctor. Holmes coming to meet them. Still Proctor. Broadbridge the tackler. Well done, Michael Broadbridge. Playing an inspired game at the moment, and a good foot pass finds Og.
Now Walker, intended for Hawes, but it will come to Og. He goes across the top to Hawes, who was almost met solidly. In fact, a West Perth player is down. I didn't see what happened there.
But the backwash,
and the throw-in will take place at right half forward.
Swan District's painted themselves into a corner then, and probably trying to run that ball into that breeze. They got out of it with a boundary throw-in.
Harris looks like he met Evander Holyfield on the way through.
Fulgrave with a hurried clearing kick. Broadbridge is under it. Little tentative. Eaton couldn't get it, and Broadbridge was pushed in the back. Passeri's called a play on. Well, there wasn't a great deal of advantage there. He was facing the wrong way. Holmes with a mistake. Picked up by Eaton. Eaton in towards centre half forward. Going back with it is Peel. Coming to meet it was Caton. Peel runs onto it at 25 metres, and this could be the sealer. Chris Peel has kicked Swans' 14th goal. They're 14-13. West Perth are 6-6. And if this was going to be a close contest, then West Perth needed to get the first goal in this last quarter.
Here we see the build-up for Swan Districts, and Peel actually used his body there on his West Perth counterpart and gave him a little bit of push out of the road, and then was good enough to swoop on the ball and kick a goal. He's a player from last year's Swans Premiership side in the Colts under Tom Maluli, so he's come on and done quite well.
West Perth out of their depth. Edmonds wins the tap. Shark by West. He hooks across his body. Plenty of distance with the kick. Falling back though is O'Reilly. He's absolutely...
He's Warhol like a jumper.
It's been one of the best baths we've seen for a while. Fulgrave. Shark by Richardson. Pushed out again towards Richardson. Upfield it's worked now by Swans to Holmes. Holmes to centre half forward. Caton overruns the football. Nicely done by Bazzo. Throws it to Hasty. He gets away from Curley and bangs it through for another one.
It should be 50 metres too.
No, there's a decision back here.
They pulled the game up. There was a throw.
Right.
There was a throw in there somewhere, and
Yeah, I called it.
and yes, you did. And Hasty went on and kicked the ball for a goal, but he'd obviously heard the decision by the umpire and
Pretty
chose
short,
to ignore
50
it.
metres.
Yes, you wouldn't want O'Reilly buying any land, Wally.
So Driffle, it looks as though he's been the recipient of the free kick.
Very congested West Perth forward line there.
Djukowicz on a lead, couldn't hang on. Comes down to Pasiri. Good run from the youngster Peel, who kicked the last goal. No left foot there, obvious. Driffle gets away from Walker.
Well done.
Hand pass on to Hall. Fulgrave from the middle of the ground. West Perth going to attack, but it's all Swans. Good mark. Taken in defence by Edmonds. Foot pass wasn't as good. Set his teammate up in David Ogg, but he's got time to recover. Hooks around his body. It's all Swans here. Andy Holmes had a half an hour of time, and a nice foot pass finds Broadbridge. Broadbridge a chip over the top for Hasty, but coming to meet the football is Jeps. Now it's won by Ball. Back to Broadbridge from 50 metres out on the boundary. He hooks to the square. It carries the pack and shot it through by Caton. 4 goals to Kevin Caton, celebrating his 100th. But Michael Broadbridge, one of the best on the ground today.
He has had a great game, Michael Broadbridge, playing off the wing today. He was in that. He touched that ball on no less than 2 or 3 occasions before that goal was scored. Here we see Walker contest the ball over the back. Caton didn't worry about picking it up. He was close enough to soccer it through, and as it was called, kicked his 4th goal for the game. He's been an opportunist. He's converted most of his opportunities today, Caton.
Perth still in front of Subi, and East Fremantle seem to have hit the lead against Claremont. East Perth in front of Souths. So what started out to be a very promising display by West Perth during that first quarter when they kicked into the wind has developed into a schmozzle. An absolute shambles as far as the Falcons are concerned, but a show of strength by Swan Districts. Grasso picks out Ogg. Ogg swings it across the ground to Ugle. Swan Districts tacking into this wind at the moment as Ugle runs it up to the members' flank. He's clever enough to get out of that tackle. Eaton kicks short and finds Bazzo. West Perth doing a lot of running and a lot of chasing. Bazzo from midway between centre wing and half forward, kicks to centre half forward. Ball down to Hawes. Tried to throw it through the pack. Walker, that won't carry to the target. Broadbridge was the target. Proctor working back deep in defence. Takes the pressure off momentarily, and Djukowicz will take the mark.
It'll be his first touch for quite a while, I'd say.
Reminds me a little bit of Laurie Richards as he gets it out wide, accommodates a teammate who wanted to bounce.
Badafri.
He kicks long towards centre half forward where O'Reilly has pushed Cullen in the back.
O'Neill that'll be.
O'Neill. And Cullen will take the shot at goal from about 35 metres. But it's all academic now, which is unfortunate because if you weren't with us during the first quarter, we saw a torrid opening to this game. A fierce and highly competitive West Perth side kicking into the wind. They really took it up to Swan Districts. Only trailed by 6 points at that stage, and Swans had kicked with a strong wind in the first term. But the further the game has gone, the less West Perth's the more West Perth's appetite has faded. And we now see them in this lamentable situation. Cullen lining up for what would be his 4th goal. He's been their sole hope up forward. He's a very good kick of the ball. I'm not sure that he's got that through. He's missed to the left. In fact, he's missed 2 or 3 opportunities where he should have scored, and he should have more than 3 goals to his personal tally.
Well, I guess his performance shows how West Perth's performance has been over apart from the first quarter, how their performance has been, and a disappointing result there.
Ugle brings the ball back into play, and that's a good sliding mark by Peel. He's kicked very close to the boundary, and strong work by O'Neill.
We talked about O'Neill and O'Reilly coming into the game and being tight in defence. But I thought Edmonds has really lifted his game as well around the ground and in the forward line. But he has had a big influence since half-time.
Glenn Buick felt that. Edmonds over the top of Nelson. Going in hard again is Peel. That's very well in a tight situation. Edmonds to Holmes, who knocks it on to Broadbridge. He hooks around his body. Hawes gets mixed up with Hall, and they force it over. 15-13, 103 to 6-7, 43. Swans have rebounded after that shock loss last week. Nelson over the top, down to Proctor. Kick smothered by Walker, who runs away with it to Broadbridge, to Grasso. Good run by Swans. Still some work to do. Back to Broadbridge. Good football.
And he had a look as well. He had
Hasty.
a look.
Now Caton. Can he finish it off? Good spoil by Dripple. Now it's Jepson ball. Jeps kicks it through for a force behind. And perhaps the best thing to do in that situation.
He's got some good pace ball for a big fella, and he really put the pressure on Jeps then.
I like the way he plays football, and I think he'll be back in the Eagles before too much longer.
I like your tie.
It's the same as yours.
You got first choice on colours, didn't you?
Fulgrave kicks to half forward through the hands of Djukovic, and now it's Troy Ugle running it out of defence, and as he's done for most of the day, switches direction across the ground to Grasso. Grasso with a very neat foot pass finds Walker. He's 10 metres in the clear. The kick is meant for Caton. I don't think he'll get there in time. Intercepting was Sheldrick, and the crumbs come to Robbie West, who clears it out of the danger zone eventually for West Perth.
A lot of trouble picking it up. Gets it down in the direction of Tuvey, and he's having trouble picking it up. Making really hard work of this West Perth as West chips it down towards Fulgrave. Fulgrave on right centre wing. The commitment of some of the West Perth players in the close encounters this afternoon has left a bit to be desired, I think.
I agree with you.
Certainly not by Elliott on that occasion. He takes the mark almost at centre half forward.
There's a few players that want to go one-handed, well.
Yes, Jeff Gieschen wouldn't have been impressed with some of the efforts that he's seen out there this afternoon. And this is Harris who's taken the mark just inside 50 metres. That's a good kick. It's a very good kick from Darren Harris, his first goal of the afternoon. He is one player who started very well but hasn't been able to sustain his play in the midfield. And it's those smaller players, Harris, Buick, Del Borello, who started so well but then faded out. Elliott is another one that West Perth have missed.
Yeah, they certainly have. We heard Tanya Armstrong say at three-quarter time that John Todd asked their players to keep running the ball wide, and that's what they've done. That's where they've been successful, especially into this breeze. We've got the experienced older players running that, the Ugles and the Richardsons running that ball wide, and on the end of it you've got a Walker and a Broadbridge, and they've been able to attack simply through that manner, and it's been very successful for Swans today.
Maybe the only game in doubt now is the match at Claremont Oval. Hall gets one of his few kicks to centre half forward, and on the end of it it's David Ogg.
Hall's at centre half back now, Trevor.
David Ogg looking for the options down the ground. O'Neill.
Oh, they've gone real wide this time.
Very wide indeed, but it's a good kick.
But at least West Perth worked it out. Their full forward line came out to check that, and they weren't able to run on.
Broadbridge, they deserves to be paid that mark. It wasn't paid, very close to the boundary. And umpire Cronje a bit tough there on Michael Broadbridge.
Well, we are 15 minutes into the last quarter before they've worked it out, which is, not real clever.
Yeah, I mean, it was always what needed to be done, and eventually it has been sorted out. And while Swans maintained possession, they weren't able to run up to the centre line with it.
West is marked, almost in the middle of the ground. Richardson had to hurry his kick there when tackled. Robbie West. The target is Cullen. It's a long kick. Cullen will fly straight through his hands. David Ogg at the back, pushes towards the boundary, and he's gone for the safety of that line. Paddy Modaffrey couldn't run it down.
Hasn't he been quiet today, Trevor? Paddy Modaffrey.
Yeah, he's another. He started all right, didn't he? Got a few touches in that first quarter, but another of those smaller midfielders that's gone out of it, Noel.
I think that the Swan District's players have done real good jobs on their opposition players.
Well, one of the reasons too is that Ball, as you saw then, and Edmonds have given their players a lot of opportunities from the ruck.
They have.
And that's robbed West Perth of a lot of opportunity. Nelson's been a serviceable player, but he's had no support.
And he can't do it all by himself, as you said.
And Edmonds and the Ball have won hands down on the day when you analyse the ruck situation. Nelson won that tap, and then Buick got it towards Tooby. His kick was smothered. Chance for Harris out there. He's pulled off the kick. Up goes Pasiri. With him was Fulgrave. Buick overruns it. Back comes Pasiri. Nelson goes in hard. So does Eaton. Elliott goes out of the play. Ball gets it to Grasso. And away goes the lawnmower. Out of defence. Hand pass to Walker. David Ogg. Swans are playing with West Perth. Richardson's had a good game. Caton will mark. 45 out, directly in front, and in his 100th game, a great chance to bring up number 5.
Yes, a good chance, but I also see David Ogg limping off here, so he's come back today from an injury, and let's hope it's not too serious.
Got an Achilles problem, which can be long-term. Very hard injury to overcome. Ask Laurie Keane.
Yeah. This man's had his troubles too with injuries, but he's done a good job today. Caton drives at the goal.
It's a great kick.
It's a great kick into the breeze. 5 goals to Kevin Caton. What about that, he says?
Yes, he's got the score on the board.
Stick that up your jumper.
Score on the hands, but it was a good transfer of play there. We saw the clever players, the players we discussed before. Richardson in the build-up with the handball. Ogg and the other, Mick, as you said, the lawnmower, Mick Grasso. They all touched the ball. They moved it. Walker, as I said, Ogg.
You know, I think Kevin Caton was giving that sign to me.
Back to Richardson, and a pinpoint pass to Caton, who didn't let his teammates down and was very happy to kick that 5th goal.
He's an exciting footballer, isn't he?
That's a sad sight for West Perth supporters. They're expecting a lot so far this season.
Well, it's interesting, Trevor, that one of their big problems last year was kicking goals. Cullen kicked 59, which isn't a big tally for a full forward. Hall kicked 42, and then the next best was Robbie West, who kicked 18.
Yeah.
And here they are again with only 7 goals on the board on a day when they're kicking with a 7-goal win at least twice during the course of the game. Caton has kicked almost 7 on his own. He's got 5 at the moment. Slow start to the season for Caton. Missed at least one early game, if not both the early games. But he's come back strongly today. One of the league's leading goal scorers last year, as we mentioned, with 75 goals. And he's lining up here for his 6th. This would be a very good kick if he could get this, because the wind will blow it from right to left, and he's in the right full forward pocket. And it won't score. In fact, it's gone out of play on the full. In fact, when you talk about goal-kicking feats at West Perth, you've got to go back a long way to find a West Perth player who headed the goal tally.
Ross
I'm
Eyre.
sure you could do that. No, not quite that far.
Laurie Richards.
No.
Evans.
Early 70s.
Evans.
No. Our director got it. Phil Smith was the answer in 73.
When was Evans then?
He would have been before that,
Yeah.
late, perhaps mid-60s.
Here we see Hall in the horrors anyway.
Here's Hawes. Gets the ball wide towards Edmonds. Edmonds gets it further afield. Goal coming up from Peel. No, he's hooked it. So Swans move to 16-15. West Perth are 7-7.
I'd like to see West Perth man up here and contest the game right out. I think they're just letting Swans run away with it. I mean, it will show a little bit of character if they can each get a hold of a man and tighten it up so that Swans don't kick the 3 or 4 goals and make the game look super ugly.
Good endeavour there by Richardson.
Oh, got a high tackle. He ducked into that, surely.
Very unlucky to have that go against him. Fulgrave sets his captain up. He hand passes away in horror. Hawes to Caton. Caton can score, but he goes for the foot pass. Edmonds couldn't hang on, and Jeps runs it out. Bit unlucky there, Swans. Edmonds couldn't hang on to a bullet-like pass. Nearly knocked him over.
Nevertheless, played very well today, Edmonds.
Some wag has phoned the studio while and said that Ray Schofield was the last player to cook his to lead the goal kicking for West Perth.
Well, I mean, they're a club that traditionally or historically has had some great goal kickers. You mentioned Ross Eyre, Lindsay Holland was another, Ray Scott, of course, Ray Schofield in the latter stages of his career, and Phil Smith. But gee, since 1973 it's been lean, hasn't it? Laurie Richards, you mentioned.
Yeah. This is Ball. He thumps it back towards the top of the square. Nelson going back, one hand. He was backing back into the pack, and off hands it rolls over and out of bounds in the last 7 or 8 minutes of this match now, with Swans with a commanding lead. And West Perth, what do they do from here, Noel?
Well, as I said before, I'd like to see him man up and fight the game out for a start and maybe make the next 10 minutes a launching pad for next week. I mean, that's what they've got to look forward to now.
Fulgrave over the top of Walker to West. Back to Fulgrave. He's in the middle of the ground now. Changes direction. Kicks the ball out very wide. Eaton will put pressure on Elliott. In fact, he's got the ball just inside the boundary, but he couldn't keep it in play, trying to get it to Peel.
I was trying to get a line through the form of these two teams today, Trev, and East Perth were the common denominator. West Perth beat them in the first game, and then Swans came back and beat them last week. It doesn't add up to... I mean, East Perth beat Swans last week. It doesn't add up to much, does it, form?
Another thrust by West Perth through the hands of O'Neill that time. He's got good recovery. He knocks it out for Hardy, back to O'Neill, confronted by Djukovic. Still he goes, O'Neill. Ball, a call from Holmes, who skirts the pack, finds a bit of space, and then kicks to half forward.
Coming down to meet the ball is Edmonds for Swans. He gets it off to Peel, who's tried to keep it in play. He's done it pretty effectively. Hasty is there with Curley. Both get back to their feet. A good one-out duel here, and Curley must get the kick, surely. He was being interfered with by Hasty, and that was well played as West Perth tied it up in there. And as it turned out, Curley was lucky he didn't give away the kick, but not having been awarded the kick in the first place, I guess he felt he was entitled to take a few liberties. 16-15 to 7-7.
You were talking about goal kickers here before. Perhaps young Curley could have been tried on the forward line. I remember him last season as a very clever wingman half forward.
It's been to Trevor Jenkins, hairstylist, as Walker shoots on goal from the pocket and puts it right across the face.
It wasn't a bad haircut, was it?
16-15.
Have you seen a better haircut than that?
The margin is 62 points now in favour of Swan Districts, and we're at the 23-minute mark of the final quarter as we wait on Justin Driffle to bring the ball into play. That's intended for West. He comes down in front of Bazzo to take the mark, but West Perth are still deep in defence. That in turn is intended for Elliott, taken by Del Borello, and then in turn by Hardy.
What a great game Robbie West played. I mean, he's wearing out his options now to kick the ball. There's no one upfield to for him to being presented so they can kick the ball to him, so he's just had to kick it anywhere. But he's certainly played a great game.
Proctor. Peel going back with him. Proctor from left half back. Needs to be a good kick. Chance for Holmes. Gets around Djukovic. Kicks back towards centre half forward for Swans. Sheldrick was in front. Nelson roving at the back. Got his boot to it. West Perth might have been better off if he'd missed it, I think. Although Richardson wasn't able to control it. That's Hall who gets it wide. Taken by Tuvey. Now West again. Has Harris ahead of him, but decided to bounce, and it's very greasy out there. Well, not very greasy, but greasy enough for it not to bounce, as you saw. Tuvey down towards the half-forward line for West Perth. Side bottom leading Madaffrey in the race for the ball, and together they take it over the line. Still 62 points the margin here at Bassendean Oval as we go to time on in the final quarter. It's 16-15, 111 to West Perth 7-7-49.
West Perth 2 goals since half-time. Very disappointing, Noel.
Yeah, extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing for the players that have gone out of the game. You know, the Del Borellos, the Harrises,
Buick.
Buick, the littler fellas. I mean, they just haven't been at the fore of the ball, and we haven't seen the second efforts either. Which is, you need those sort of players playing like that to make a competitive game.
This is Basiri on the outer side of the ground. Kick well smothered by Harris. Up over the top then was Sheldrick, or Tuvey it was. Now Buick paddles it out. Basiri tunnel balls it, and some very indecisive football results in a boundary throw-in. We'll have the highlights of AFL football in our news break tonight between 7 and 7:30. Essendon and Hawthorn highlights.
Mike Richardson still running for a guy in his 30s. Still running.
So is Grasso. He's running hard. Kick to half forward. In front is Curley. Gets a hand pass away to Buick. Buick looks for a teammate upfield. Finds Tuvey. He's got a runner outside in Elliott. Back over the top to Tuvey. Peel intercepting. And that just typifies the game as far as West Perth is concerned. They've been robbed of the football by young Peel, who in turn finds Travis Edmonds. Edmonds goes on. The flow of the play picks up Walker. And Walker will set this up in the goal square from there. In fact, he could go close to scoring, although he's kicking into the teeth of the breeze. A kick to the top of the square. Hawes and Hall flew. The rover at the back was Nelson, who feeds the hand pass out to Fulgrave. And he in turn finds Proctor, who's away, caught by Broadbridge. He's got back up though from Fulgrave, and West Perth will get out of the situation.
I'm not sure for how long though, Trev. They haven't got much to kick it to.
No,
Grasso at the back. Chance now for Madaffrey. Hasn't he been quiet? Side bottom. Players loose in the centre, but he goes longer than that. Walker is the target. Well picked up. He can be a brilliant rover at times, does the very clever things that a rover needs to do, picking the ball up on the half volley, reading it directly off hands, and his disposal is often good. And Edmonds, as a result of the Walker move, has taken the mark at centre half forward. Fortunately for Greg Walker, he just fades out of the game from time to time. He really has a touch of class about him. Short kick, not good thinking by Edmonds, gives Proctor the chance. Hand pass goes to Tuvey. Tuvey from right half back, kicks it down in the direction of Freeman. He's got Eaton marking him at the moment, who's on one leg. There goes the kick from Freeman towards centre half forward. Harris was pulled out of it. This is Cullen. Harris has it again. Or was that Elliott? This is Harris. And Harris, deep at right full forward, goes back in the direction of Elliott, who thought about going, thought about it a second time, then decided that the distance isn't going to be the problem, it'll only be accuracy. So it goes back for a deliberate shot at goal. Swans have outscored West Perth by 8 goals to 2 in the second half. And they led by 17 points at half time. Elliott from about 45 metres. Not a good effort from there. That makes the margin 61 points. Really has been a long second half for West Perth supporters. As Swans bring the ball around the members' side of the ground, O'Neill kicking it in. Fulgrave at ground level. Chance for Peel, who's really enjoying this opportunity.
Well, no better time to come on in a game when the game's sort of there already won, and you've got a kid with a fair amount of ability come on and show his pace and his prowess as a footballer.
Looks as though East Fremantle have got the better of Claremont in that game.
That would open their account.
Yeah, and a good effort with the players they had missing. Cullen caught by Grasso, comes to Holmes, and the chip lands out of bounds or just inside the boundary. And the only thing left to do now is to try and get an autograph from somebody.
A few West Perth players have time.
Last kick of the match to Fulgrave.
Doesn't count.
I don't think it'll be counted. No, it's not. So West Perth remain lamentable on the scoreboard at 7 goals, 850, thrashed by Swan Districts in the second half, and Swans finishing on 16-15, 111. A disappointing day for him, and a disappointing day for Falcons supporters who thought there might have been something here today. The game started off in great style. The umpires had a tough battle to keep control of the game, and there were some very fiery incidents in the first quarter in a game that looked as though it was going to be one out of the box. But West Perth fell away badly. Swans turned up the heat, and the flag flying proudly for Swans at the end of the day.
So a big win to Swan District, 16-15, 111 to West Perth 7-8-50. The margin 61 points in favour of Swans.
Tanya Armstrong is talking to a man who had a big influence on the game, Kevin Caden.
Congratulations on the 100 game. A very pleasing way to celebrate it, Kevin.
Yeah, it was. It was good value, and we worked really hard this week, and we worked hard through the week at training, and it showed today on the game.
Kevin, you've been around the country a bit. Did you ever think you'd reach your milestone at Swans?
Oh, it was going to take a while, I thought so. Yeah, but you know, it's good to be home.
5 goals today. Happy with your own performance this season?
Yeah, I've still got a way to go, but you know, it's only early, so I'll get there hopefully.
Forward line structure seems to be coming together nicely with Travis Edmonds and Jason Ball alongside you.
Yeah, we've got a great, a good forward line, and it helps. We've got big players and we've got mobile players, so you know it all goes well for the rest of the year.
And your mobile players worked well today as well.
Yeah, we certainly did.
You've been touted as premiership favourites early on. Has that put pressure on you?
Oh no, not really. I think we'll just you know, we'll take it week by week. When September comes, we'll take it then.
Thanks very much, Kevin. I'll let you go.
Thank you. Bye.
Tanya Armstrong there, talking to Kevin Caton, the leading goal scorer in the game. And isn't it great for the WAFL competition to have players of Caton's ability back in the competition? Swan District's players not getting a lot of marks for their choral skills, but certainly they got marks today for their football skills. Caton kicked 5, Bazzo kicked 3, and Hasty kicked 2. Hawes got 1 for Swans, as did Peel, Walker, Edmonds, Hardy and Ball, and the main goal scorer for West Perth was Cullen with 3, and then singles to Buick, Del Barello, Harris and Djukovic.
So it looks as though Swans, Perth, East Fremantle and East Perth are the winners in league football around WA today.